we live? We could be. There we go. Yes. Finally, I got it. I got it. Let me go promote this while people are coming in. Oh, what a mess, dude. What a mess. All right. I'm going to be promoting this as we get people in here. Oh my goodness. It has been a full-on freaking mess, dude. Oh my gosh. Um ah I'm freaking out. I'm freaking out. Sorry if you're watching this live. We'll get there, I promise. Okay. Do this. You can probably skip ahead 10 minutes to when people actually come in if you're watching the aftermath on YouTube. Don't watch me do all this stuff. And I'll link the stream here. Cool. What is up, everyone? What is up? What is up? I'm doing live volleyball help. So again, any questions, advice, tutorials, happy to help out. And we'll do this live. I'm just promoting myself right now on my Instagram. So just give me a minute, but feel free to start sending in questions if you're here. And promote. Oh, it's not promoting. It's not promoting. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. Come on. What's up? What's up? Welcome to the first official stream. I've tested this before last week, and I don't have a full stream schedule yet, but we're working on it. We're getting there. It's good to see y'all. Welcome in. We're just talking about, I'm promoting myself on the story right now to get people in here to ask questions, but feel free to ask anything you want about volleyball. I'm here to talk about volleyball. I'm here to help out. We had a lot of people last time. I didn't announce this last time, and I got a lot of questions in about from like where to line up as a libero, how to set, how to dive, how to do any of that. So I just want this to be a good resource for y'all if you play volleyball, or if you want to just talk volleyball. That'd be sick too. All right, almost done promoting the stream. Almost done. We'll get there in a second. I wish I could do this before I go live, but I'm basically a boomer now. All right. First official, put it on my Instagram live stream. This is super exciting. Oh my gosh. It's weird being live streaming again. So, yeah, I used to do this. I think I mentioned this last stream. I used to do this in like 2020 during COVID when I first started Jolly-Ball, and I would live stream pretty much like every day, and it was insane. What's up, Damien? I'm doing well today. It's been a busy day. I'm planning on traveling a lot. I'm going somewhere special tomorrow, which should be pretty exciting for Jolly-Ball itself. And yeah, just doing good. It's kind of a gloomy day in San Diego, but how are you doing today? And yeah, feel free. Take your time. I'll be here for a good little while, so take as much time as you need. And almost done, about to post it. Feel free to pop in and ask some questions. And does that look good for the Jolly Ball? Yeah, okay. Posting the story. We'll see how many people can get in here. Okay, what else do we have? But I have my little coach board here today, so we'll be I can absolutely showcase different plays with my little volleyball, and you can see my mouse and everything. I'll have a fancier overlay soon, so don't worry. I'm so new to YouTube streaming and like Twitch and all that. I've only done I'm pretty good on film and videos, but yeah, this is all new to me. Oh, hello everyone. I have volleyball mixed boys and girls tournament today. Can I have any tips on how to get better at hitting back row? Because boys can basically only hit pipe this tournament, and I'm annoyed. Yes, I know that feeling. That is a co-ed reverse tournament. So for those that don't know, the reverse format in tournaments when you play with usually men and women is that guys can only hit back row. So one of the biggest tips I can give you, and probably of course I could tell you, how to hit high, reach, all that stuff. But as far as just a direct tip for the tournament is don't go early on your hitting approaches, okay? Let the set, and if you can get the set a little in front of the 10-foot line or the back row to lead you a little bit, that also helps. But don't go early on back row attacks. You want to wait for it. Because what happens a lot of the time is people go in early, and then I can show the ball. The ball starts to get behind them back here because they go in too early, and then they hit behind their head, and they fly it out of bounds. So wait, don't go too early, and really focus on your timing. That's going to be the most important thing. You're going to crush this tournament. You're going to crush this tournament. You're going to win it. I believe in you. Yes, Levi. A stream. We are back. We are finally back. Oh my gosh. Feels good. I'll get a good stream schedule going starting next week, but yeah, just wanted to get things cooking for now. But oh my gosh, did I miss streaming? It is so much fun. I love it. I love it so much. All right. Damien, I'm all right. Thanks for asking. I'm an aspiring outsider that is currently struggling with mentality on how to improve technique. Perfectionism is probably what haunts me every day. Haunts me as well. I cannot lie. I struggle with perfectionism myself. In fact, like I do one bad pass, for instance, or like my pass is not perfect. I'm like, stupid. What are you doing? What are you doing? So the biggest thing with mentality in perfectionism is honestly reps over anything. And that's kind of a cop-out answer, but just practicing consistency and doing it over and over and over and over again, even though it feels so repetitive and it sometimes doesn't feel like you're getting better, it really does build that skill set you need for the long term, right? Because I think a lot of people don't play, like especially around where I play at open gyms, and mostly a lot of people are playing for fun. Like a lot of people still want to play better, but they don't really practice a lot, myself included. I kind of go out, play, come back, do the YouTube stuff, right? I don't really get to practice too much often. So it's hard to have that perfectionism mentality when you're not playing too much. So there's not really an advice for getting out of it, right? I can give you a lot of like different tips on perfectionism, but the biggest thing is the more you play, the more you'll feel comfortable, and you'll start to see that improvement. It takes time. It really does take time. And it sucks to say that. It really sucks because I want to be good so fast. But perfectionism is, I think, a good quality too. Don't let that be a bad thing. Always want to get better. But don't bring yourself down as much as I think you tend to get when people have that perfectionism mindset. It is really hard to deal with though. So wishing you the best on that. But yeah, keep working at it. Keep working at it. Where are you playing now? Are you currently in like high school, college, adult? Where are you looking to play? How far along have you been playing, if you don't mind me asking? But yeah, what else? Like, yeah, so 2020 was when I started doing live streams, and that was like over TikTok, and then they were all Haiku based. So I did a lot of Haiku videos back in the day when I was first growing, because I was in love with it. I still am. But I think a lot of people were also interested in Haiku at the time. It was kind of blowing up in the 2020 range. So I started doing live streams, and it would just be like Haiku player wars on which player is better, who would do this, who would do that. And it was kind of crazy. So I did enjoy talking about that, but it was fun because people would ask for tips, advice, or things directly on volleyball. And I thought it was a big help. And I didn't really see any other people really doing it. Because I can make, of course, you see lots of volleyball tutorials online. There's lots of great tutorials out there. But when you're on a live stream, you can ask like follow-up questions. You can get live coaching or like advice on specific things that I wouldn't make videos about normally. So I think it's great. You get to ask questions, and I can help out as much as I can. But yeah, I've been playing volleyball for about, 14, 15 years, pretty much my whole life. So I have definitely a lot of experience to answer a lot of questions. But I've never coached before. Can you believe that? I've never coached. I've always wanted to coach, but I never thought I would be a good coach because, like, I do all this weird, crazy stuff all the time, and I'm like, I don't know how, like, that's a good thing. I shouldn't teach that. I have my own methods for doing things, so it's probably not a good thing to teach, but who knows? Levi, I was scrolling, saw that a club was having an open gym to find guys to take to AZ Natties. I'm a junior and the 218s team, both kind of nasty, and I kind of just registered for it. But pretty much I'm 5'10", pin that has no bounce. You're good. You can work. That's something you could work on for sure. And I just rely on avoiding the block and going high hands and chiseling. But essentially, what do you think would make you stand out? It did not feel. You're all good. You're all good. Great question. In fact, I got a very similar question last stream about undersized outside hitters. So here's the biggest thing that I would say as an undersized pin. Your best bet is to become insanely good at defense and passing. And the reason for that is there's a ton of outsides that are going to naturally be taller and be those like cannon. I call them like cannon outsides, because they have either like a massive swing, they just hit the ball so freaking hard, or jump so high and get points and are really just like those powerful outside hitters. So a lot of teams have a hitter like that. And then a lot of teams, their second outside hitter or their OH2 is usually that shorter, undersized, or someone that isn't as powerful, but they're their skilled outside hitter, which means they're the better passer and the better defender. It's almost like having another like libero on your team. And the reason I say that is that outside position, that's the way you stand out, is by your serve receive and by your defense in the six back position, not at the net. Of course, the better you are at the net and the better you can do, that helps. But as you mentioned, being pretty undersized, if you want to play at a higher level or like struggling with getting around a block or just not being too effective, you're going to stand out on your defense and passing. Because if you're passing dots, that is very, very valuable, especially at the higher level. If you look at, for instance, I don't know if you watched the NCAA finals, but every kind of team had a player like that for the most part. For instance, maybe UCLA is the only exception, because UCLA had two really tall, kind of lengthy outsides. But like say like UC Irvine, who has Andre, the French outside, who's kind of like their powerful, who's also a phenomenal passer, so he's more of a unicorn. But what's his name? Is it Kiraku? The other outside for UCI, not the one that was playing in the Nationals, but that played throughout the season. He's more of an undersized, I think he's 6'2", outside hitter that is a god at passing and playing in that back row. And that's how he was able to secure a spot pretty much. Long answer. I won't, don't worry, I won't yap that long on every question, but yeah, it's tough. But focus on the passing and defense. That is huge. It is tough. It is really hard though. I don't play in school. I'm probably your only viewer from South American. Holy crap! How do you say that? Is it Suriname? Suriname. I'm butchering it. Oh my gosh. Can you like phonetically say that? I gotta look that up. It's 2 to 3 competitions a year. There are competitions held every season. I play at the volleyball club. Oh, good for you. That is so awesome. Well, greetings to South America. That is so cool. It amazes me. We had who was it? We had someone from Norway, we had someone from Denmark, we had someone from Germany, we had someone from Australia. It was crazy. Like there was people all over. I met someone from Indonesia that recognized me at a gym the other day, and I was like, that's crazy. So greetings. It's amazing that it still baffles my head that this is all across the world, right? You know, because I just play in this little pocket of California in USA that is so like volleyball heavy that it just amazed me where people are coming from. So that's so awesome. Greetings. It's good to meet you. Holy crap. That is so sick. And Levi, if you want more tips, let me know, man. The good thing about there not being a lot of people in the streams, especially when I'm first starting, is you can ask as many questions as you want and I will continue to answer them. That's what this is for. So this is like free coaching time. I love it. And I will do what I can as much on any question. So that's super cool. All right. But this is so sick. We got 8 people so far. That's amazing. I love everybody that is able to come through. And I know it's kind of during rough school hours. So a lot of people are in school right now or can't make it, which is okay. That's how it happens sometimes. Yeah, this is going to be good. Okay. I was just checking to make sure everything was up and running on the stream. I really want the fancier overlays and all that stuff, but we'll get there. It's just about answering the right questions so far, right? And that's all that we care about for now. What's up, Francis? Hey, Jonah, I have a question from passing float serves with platform. I don't feel comfortable enough to not get called for a carry every time. And when you say carry, because you're saying passing float serves with a platform, right? Like that. Or were you talking about using your hands and getting called for a carry? Can you clarify that real quick? Because if you're passing with your platform, you don't need to worry about carries at all. And I assume you know that, right? But assuming you're talking about passing with your hands, honestly, serve receive, a lot of like, oh, your bump or like, okay. It depends, because if you're passing like this, you will never get called for a carry at all on any type of float serve whatsoever. So you're completely fine. As long as your hands are closed and together and you're not like catching and throwing it, you're completely okay. You will never get called for a carry, right? If you're talking about passing with your hands, you could also get away with a lot too. You might, like for serve receive, they're very loose with how they call things, usually in refs. So you can get away with a lot. It doesn't matter how ugly it is. If you just put it up in the air, no one's going to call you on anything. And serve receive is the one place where they won't call you on a lot unless you're like catching it and throwing it. But if you're using your platform or your bump platform, as you said, you will not be called for a carry. And if you want tips on passing, I can give that too. But you don't need to worry if you're, passing like that. I know serve receive is tough though. I think serve receive is the hardest skill in volleyball. I think that I will die on that hill because I have played with so many people and I would say like 90% cannot serve receive like consistently or well. It's insane. And I think that's a skill that everyone overlooks. I think it's like hitting legs in gym, where you see all the gym rats that are like hitting arms, shoulders, chest and stuff, and then they have the tiniest legs. Okay, more tips about float serve passing using the button. Perfect. Yep, that I can absolutely give. So, some tips using your float serve or passing float serves. This is absolutely in the range of what I can do. Okay, first one is make sure you're tracking the ball properly, right? A big problem of why people can't really pass float serves, especially when they're moving around too much, is because I think you might hear coaches say this too. They're moving up and down as they're following the ball. So, for instance, I can make myself bigger. They're trying to track the ball, but then they're standing up straight like this, and then they're trying to like go up and down and trying to follow the ball, and then they're going to shank it every time. And when I say shank the ball, it's going to hit their platform and fly out, and they're going to mess up the pass. So trying to stay the same level when you're passing is really huge. So as you're seeing the ball, I wish I could show this by standing up. I don't have as much space in my bedroom. But as you're tracking the ball, don't go up and down as you're trying to follow it. Try to stay level and move side to side as you're following the ball. Move your feet fast. Move your feet fast, okay? There's different ways people say you can move your feet and pass the ball, but the biggest thing is the faster you move your feet, the more in control your pass is going to be. So you see where the float's coming. If it's in your realm, move your feet to where you think the ball is going. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be right behind the ball. But the sooner you move your feet and get to a spot the float's coming, then you feel more confident making your pass. I think a lot of people let floats get too high on them or go out of their range and then they shank it. So 1, stay still, move side to side, don't move up and down, move your feet really, really fast, get to the ball, and then really practice your angles, right? That's something that's like, you got to practice, right? You can't just assume you're going to be good from there, but really focus on getting those shoulders down if you need to pass outside your body, or of course, dipping your right shoulder or getting behind it and really getting your platform there. But you have to practice those angles, and you can practice against a wall, passing against a wall, seeing what angles get the ball to which spot. But those are 3 easy tips I'd say right off the bat. I do have a passing tutorial on that too. So I should make a serve receive one though. That would be great where I can show more of this. But yeah, stay level, get your feet there, and that will already make you such a better passer. So many more tips I can give, but that's a great starting point. Cool. Yeah, Francis, wishing you the best, man. Okay. I'm getting to your questions. I'm seeing them all. This is great. Thank you so much. Okay. Let's see. Could you recommend a defensive serve receive progression? A way to really strengthen the fundamentals or ducks? Let me make sure I understand this question right. Could you recommend a defensive serve receive progression? A way to really strengthen the fundamentals or ducks I need to get in a row? Oh, ducks that you need to get in a row. Like center of gravity needing to stay low. Yeah. So as far as like general advice for serve receive and passing, very similar to what I mentioned in the last point. When you're passing and playing defense, right? Staying low and keeping your shoulders over your knees, people say is good. So I would say like staying light, but moving your feet is such an underrated tip that I think will be the crux of today's video or of today's stream. I will keep saying that most of the time. You don't want to be moving as the ball is being hit. Like, so if you're playing defense, the ball's coming at you, you don't want to be moving as the person's hitting the ball because that's hard to control. But the faster you move your feet and get into a strong position on defense, the better it is to really get those digs in defense. And let me show on the board before I get to the next question. So, for instance, if you're playing libero here, you're number 2 right here, okay? And they are setting, let's say this, you have the opposite. The setter is setting the ball over here, right? This is you. This is you. The setter sets the back to this guy, right? You need to play defense. What do I mean by moving your feet? I don't mean kind of slowly moseying down here or over here when the ball is being hit. I mean, move your feet as fast as you can to the spot you think they're going to hit. A lot of people tell you to line up on the line or if you see the inside, but get your feet there. Get your feet there. Get your feet there. Get your feet there. Be still and be ready. And that is almost acting as like a split step. And for those that don't know, a split step is a little hop you make right before you do an action or you move to almost get your body ready. It's like a little hit of adrenaline. It's like, ha, I'm about to dig it. It gets your body ready for whatever is going to come next. So that is a really good habit. Moving your feet, getting there and getting that split step down is huge for fundamentals. And then, like I said earlier on serve receive, move your feet to the ball. So I'll give you those tips for now. And then we'll get into some more tips soon on passing. Hey, Mama. Yeah, that's the name. First time, do you have any examples of players really good at passing float serves? Eric Shoji is good. Jania Grebenikov. Wait, I can actually just type in the chat, right? I think I'm spelling their names. Hopefully I'm spelling their names right. Grebenikov is my favorite to watch pass float serves. And then Eric Shoji, of course. I'm typing those in the chat right now. 2 of the best liberos. I probably butchered Eric. I think it's with a C. Don't worry about it. We're not going to talk about it. But those 2, the France libero and the USA libero, some of the best ever at passing float serves, specifically, especially Jania. I don't know how exactly you say his name, but they are some of the best, and I would watch them. I used to watch tons of volleyball videos from the back, where it would just be the view right behind the court, and you just watch how they pass and how they move, and that's how I mirror my passing. I mirror my passing off of Grebenikov, specifically. Yeah. I do try to, Levi, I'll try to ask more. I do try to work on serve receive defense, but I'm known liability, and that's never been my strength. Plus, at JVLO, 6 foot is the average pin height. I would love to fill that OH2 role, but I've literally just been the hit, block, serve. I can't really be doing all that with a club like this. Matter of fact, on the topic, what are some good serve receive tips for topspin serves? So for topspin serves, the biggest tip I can give, start deep in the court. So if these guys are passing a topspin serve, it's these 3. A lot of people, why they suck at topspin serves is they'll start like right here on the court. And then the serve will come and it will be landing like right there. And then they'll have to move backwards and they'll shank the ball, right? Depending on the level you're playing at, you can figure out how deep you want to start. It's better to start deeper on the court because a lot of topspin serves are going to come deep, right? So being deeper on the court gives you so much more time to pass a topspin. The further you are up the court, the faster it's going to come to you and the less time you have to react. So being deeper on the court gives you a little bit more time to react to spin serves. I feel like that's something that no one talks about. The deeper you are on the court, the more time you have to move. It's insane. It's like a cheat code. But everybody wants to just step up right here. Everybody wants to pass, or like they just want to be closer to the front of the net for whatever reason. Stay deep. That is the biggest tip I can give on passing spin serves. And then, of course, moving your feet quickly, getting your platform as soon as possible to where the ball's going. But they're a lot easier to track because they're not floating as much, so you can get a lot faster with that. But staying deep is the biggest tip I can give you. It's such a simple thing, but it changes the game. All right. Gibrar. When you're playing defense on hard-driven balls, what does it look like when you're trying to scoop the ball? What does it look like when you break your platform and are just trying to get the ball up? That's a great question. I feel like people kind of fake it sometimes. Like they don't need to scoop, but they end up doing something weird where they just dig it normally and then they just break their hands and just throw their hands up like, I'm amazing. Bah, bah. Scooping is a little bit different than that, right? The idea of the scoop is the ball's coming so fast that you have no time to make a platform, right? So when I'm scooping, as the ball is coming to me, I'm not focused on cupping my hands per se. My main goal is to just get my hands under the ball. That's the first goal with the scoop. So your hands are out, you're ready to play defense. And then as the ball's coming to you, you kind of see where the ball's coming. Your first step, don't even think about how you're going to scoop. Don't even think about the scoop. Just figure out where to line up your hands. And then as the ball comes, when the ball is kind of touching your hands, naturally your body will kind of react to that once you get the feeling of it. It's not about hitting the ball up. It's kind of you're feeling the ball in your like touch your hands / arms once you made the move, and then you're trying to like absorb it. It's similar to how you would absorb a pass where your arm kind of goes back. You're not attacking it. You're kind of trying to absorb it. Naturally, as you absorb it, your hands are going to kind of pull up naturally. And I know that sounds really confusing, but it really is a feeling. You don't want to think about trying to hook it up because that's the same thing as like smacking it with your platform, right? The ball's going to fly out anywhere. So line your hands up and then just try to almost like you're trying to catch it, like you're trying to catch the ball. If the ball's fast enough, your hands will naturally make that reaction to the ball, almost as if you're doing it with the platform. So it's a really weird feeling to try to explain, but really try to work on that. Just try to get your hands behind it, and then naturally your hands will kind of pick up from there. The only exception is if the ball's pretty much in front of you and you can't really do anything. So people kind of try to scoop up almost like they're doing this with their platform, right? It's the same thing there. But yeah, don't think about pulling it up. Just think about getting your arms behind the ball. That is the most important step. Don't worry about the scoop after. But naturally, your arms will do that naturally. Oh my gosh, that is so hard to explain. If that is confusing, I will try to explain it again later. I apologize. Yeah, get your hands there. Just get your hands there. That's the number one thing. Okay, Francis, do you prefer passing in the left back or left middle when in service heave? How do you pass to the setter when in left back? Great question. That is something that is actually very hard to do that I don't think people realize. I prefer passing in the middle of the court or left middle. I guess, as you said, I just like the middle of the court because I could pass anything. I feel really confident in my passing. So the middle of the court lets me take everything without feeling bad. Like I don't have to crisscross in front of someone. I will always take the ball, especially when I'm playing libero. I will try to take 90% of balls that come in my vicinity. But, excuse me, if we're talking about passing on the left back right here, and you want to get the ball to the setter, right? Biggest thing, oh my gosh, drop your shoulder. Drop your shoulder. So you're going to have to drop your right shoulder if you're passing on the left, right? Because you want to get the ball to the setter. And I don't know why I used my head there, but it's all about dropping your right shoulder. And you have to drop it a lot. I think people kind of drop it a little bit, but then they'll always pass the ball like right here in the middle of the court, which is still a good pass. But it's like, if you want to get it to the setter spot, kind of towards the right of the court a little bit, you really have to drop your right shoulder to get the ball up there. That is the biggest thing to focus on. And I think that's what allows outsides to have a better hit over here when they're one-on-one. Because if you put the ball over here, the blockers are going to be all over that, right? So yeah, drop that shoulder. That's literally the answer to that on how you get better. People don't drop their shoulder enough. All right, another question. And if you ever want me to go more in depth, just say, hey, can you talk a little bit more about that? I will happily talk more, especially if I'm being confusing. Again, this is my first time doing it virtually, so some of these things are really hard to explain, but I'll do the best I can while you have me online. Where should you line up in the back row when the opposing team is hitting middle? Okay, let's do this. That's a great question. All right, the blue is the opposing team. We are the nice red team. Okay. Let's go over where you line up on defense when the middle is hitting right here. So let's assume you have a blocker. This is your middle. He's blocking on the middle of the ball, right? Let's say these guys aren't blocking. So we need to figure out where our back row lines up. So this is one of the hardest things to play defense in volleyball. If the middle is one-on-one in system, this is a very hard ball to stop if this is a good middle, right? But there's some things that we can do to do the best we can at defense. So I'm assuming this outside is going to come off here and play defense really tight right here. I know we're talking about the back row, and I assume the setter is going to kind of do the same here. So the libero would highly recommend it depends on how good the middle is, of course. If this is a middle that can pound the ball, you're kind of, limited on options. But for the men's volleyball, I like to take a step up like right here. This is like sacrifice defense. But the libero is basically watching the, can I get a little arrow? Can I draw a little line? How do I draw a line? Can I? Let me draw a line. Let me draw a line. Oh my goodness. They're going to make me mad. I just want to draw a line. Okay, there. Libero is watching the hard hit straight down here. And I would say the opposite can also take a step and kind of float around here to watch that crossbody hit. Let's say like around this area. So those are the main two. The hard one is, and assuming the middle is blocking right on the ball, right? The hard part is this outside right here. A lot of people struggle on where to line up. So setter is kind of watching the tip / tips to the corners. Outside's watching this tip. Of course, the tip to the pot is open in the middle right here, but the libero should be able to cover that. So where does this guy go? This is kind of a tough situation. You kind of have to make a choice depending on what you're seeing the middle do. Either, I would say the outside slides one direction right here to watch the deep, can I bring the little line back? To watch the deep corner right here. But they could also hit this deep corner. So the outside kind of needs to choose based off what they're seeing in the middle, where to go on this back line, but they should stay towards the back line. They're kind of watching anything that happens deep, especially if the ball hits this middle and goes really deep over the block, right? That should be the outside's ball. So you're kind of pinching in almost like a claw around this middle blocker. It's crucial that this middle blocker is blocking right down the middle for this defense to work pretty much. So that's kind of like a general lineup. You have the libero coming in, the opposite crunching in a little bit to watch the left, the right shots, and then you have the outside staying deep and usually picking a side. Other teams kind of have the outside stay right in the middle to watch the over the block and out, but that leaves the corners wide open. So it's very situational from there. But that's the general answer. It is tough. It is a tough ball. It is, I think, one of the hardest balls to stop and why it's one of the best attacks in volleyball. That's a great question. Okay. How can you effectively tool the block? And you're welcome, Mama. So there's a lot of ways to tool the block, but a few of them that I would say to really focus on is see where the blockers are lining up on you, if you have the time to. So let's just say you have a regular set, and let's say you're number 3. For this example, you're going to be the outside right here, okay? We're going to put 2 blockers on you right here. This is your block. This is the block you're dealing with. So, setter, this is your setter, your middle. Ooh, sorry. Okay. The set's coming out here. Your in system means you get a perfect set. How do you want to tool the blocker? So this is something you can practice, but the first thing is to see how high are the blockers jumping. And you can figure this out before the game. Usually you get an idea when people are doing hitting lines or just by watching someone else hit. How high are they jumping? Are they really jumping high? Are you dealing with a really big block? Are you dealing with a small block? What is the size of the block you're dealing with, right? That's kind of the first thing to figure out when tooling, because that lets you know what your options are during different situations. So for instance, if this middle, let's say number 5, say he's like 7 feet tall. I know that's an extreme example, but say he's like 7 feet tall. You're not going to try to tool him by going high on him for the most part, unless you're really shooting a ball to the moon. We're going to say that he's probably going to block you if you try to go really high on it. So then you have different options from there. And that's kind of the first point I just want to make, is just something to think about. How tall are their hands and how high are they going over the net? That really affects how you want to tool a block. So let's keep the 7-foot example. How would you tool a blocker that's taller than you? On a perfect pass, there's only a couple ways, I would say. The first one is to hit low. I know that seems like kind of counterintuitive, to hit low and to not hit perfectly where you're facing on it. And there's no real, example I could really show from here. But let's say they're lined up on you and you want to tool the block. Of course, you don't want to go high or necessarily anywhere where that tall blocker is going to get you. So what I'm saying is to go a little bit lower with your hit a little bit more down, and try to hit weird on their hands. And what I mean by hit weird is don't hit directly where you're facing. Try to cut your hand a little bit. Make it a non-straight shot. And if you kind of hit this gap right there or hit the outside hand, it might hit really weird off their arms, especially on a taller blocker, right? If they're really pressing more, try to hit almost sideways. Like it's almost like you're hitting out of bounds at that point, right? So it's a weird feeling because a lot of people aren't used to it, but really putting your thumb up or thumb down and really trying to hit on the outside of their hands is a big deal. And that's what works with shorter blockers or people that are pressing more, is really pushing the ball outside or hitting it a lot wider than you think you need to. I feel like a lot of people are too straight with it and they try to keep the ball in regardless. It's kind of like go for broke at that point, right? Especially if the ball is tight, which is what I'll get to in a second. You really got to hit wide on it, more than you would think. So that's the first thing. The last thing I'll say is on tooling the block, if it's tight, blast that thing on a good blocker. You can blast that thing really far out of bounds if you need to. Don't be afraid to just miss by a lot, because that's the types of balls that will absolutely get tools, right? Don't just think about, I'm going to hit line on the outside of their hands. Think like, I'm going to hit out of bounds pretty much, especially on a tight ball. Or if you're wiping it off, just go out of bounds at that point. That will get you a lot more tools than just trying to hit down the line or trying to be a little too conservative with it. Be wild with tools. And of course, high hands is great, especially on shorter blockers or even taller blockers, like I mentioned earlier. Going really high and working on the shot of how to hit high in that kind of vicinity without hitting too high, without blasting it out of bounds. They're all tough skills, but just to summarize, hitting it wider than you think you need to is a big tip. And if they have tall hands and their hands are blocking straight up, it's okay to hit lower on them because that's where their arms are, not their hands. And anything off the arms is going to fly out of bounds, right? So trying to find where their arms, shoulders, and things are that way. But yeah, watch the players first, see where they're blocking, and then hit wider than you think you need to. I think those are 2 tips to get more tools, but that just takes a lot of practice. To summarize, great question though. I wish I could tell you more. I could give more tips later, but that is a phenomenal question. Okay, let's go, mama. When you have 3 attackers what do you do about block? Follow your opposite hitting the setter. So do you mean, okay. I've seen a lot of hits go way out of bounds because the hitter tried to tool. Yeah, I assume you're talking about the tool question earlier. So when you have 3 attackers, what do you do about block? Follow your opposite hitting the setter. And I think I want to have you clarify that question because I want to make sure I understand what you're saying here. So when you have 3 hit attackers, are you talking about playing defense and where to line up? Yeah, I'll have you clarify that before I start talking, because I want to make sure I answer the question right. Are you talking about like where do you line up on defense when there's three attackers, or do you follow your opposite? Can you just clarify what you mean by that? I'll answer that though. What's up, Acid? I'm a beginner who's having trouble timing my spikes. Either the hit is late or my spike is smothered. Yeah, timing is so hard, right? I think the biggest reason people struggle with timing is they're usually too early. So if your timing is too late, that is actually a good problem to have. I would say try to keep that problem in general. Of course, you want to work on it and get better at it, right? But if you are late to the ball, that is totally okay. You're getting used to it, right? But the biggest thing I would work on with spike timing or timing your attacks is, of course, on the approach. A lot of people, when they're first starting, they just kind of run to the ball the same speed. They're kind of just like always running to the ball. They're not really waiting and seeing where the ball is. So a good exercise you can do if you have someone else helping you, or if you're really working on this with a setter, have the setter set the ball really high, or even just toss the ball really high in the air, right? They're going to toss the ball high in the air. And what you're going to do is you're going to wait. You're going to wait to see kind of where the ball is going. And then when you make your approach, you're almost going to go purposely really slow on the first step. And then what I want you to do is focus on the last two steps, or I wonder if I can show this. I don't know. I'm not going to do a feet cam. Can I do can I do it with my hands? But you're going to take the first step really slow. And then what we have is called a step close, is when we're basically getting to the ball to jump up with both feet. You're going to wait, you're going to wait, you're going to wait. And then right when you see the ball in prime distance, you're going to go really fast with that step close. Just the close jump. You're not going to keep running forward. You're not going to keep running back. I just want you to wait, slow first step, and then bang, bang. And then take your step and jump pretty much. And that's a good exercise to really work on your timing. I know it sounds kind of strange when you're first starting, especially if you're already late. It's okay to keep being late on it, right? But from there, you can really work on, okay, this is how fast I need to start. This is how fast I need to go. And as far as spike power, make sure you're going far away enough on your approach. A lot of people, let's say, I'll put you on the screen and I'll move my my camera. Say this is you right here, right? You want to hit the ball. A lot of people on the transition, or when they're getting ready to hit, they only go to like right here. And then by the time they finish their approach, they're really close to the net, and then they're hitting the ball behind them, and then you don't really get a lot of power, right? You want to get the ball in front of you as much as possible. So make sure you're going far away enough for this, depending on, of course, how much ground you can cover. So you can hit the ball in front of you and not behind you. Two of the biggest tips I can give. And then a lot of practice on that timing. It is so hard, but you got this. I truly believe in you, and I'll insert more. Yeah, a lot of people go early. Oh my goodness. I go early so much. I'm not an attacker. I had to learn kind of spiking just like watching people. I was never really taught. I've only played defense my whole life. So yeah, I'm so early too. Okay. When you set your front row opposite as a back row setter, who should be there for the opposite in case you get blocked? So block coverage, that's a great question. Yeah, I'll show you where to line up. So you're the setter. Oh my goodness, now I'm putting lines everywhere. Okay, you're the setter, and you just set your back row opposite here, who's hitting right here. So where should you cover? So what I'm going to say is usually the outside will come right behind. From the back row, they're going to press up here. Libero is going to come inside. Middle and setter will be covering tight here. So you're kind of making a little triangle right here with the middle and the setter. So yeah, you should follow the ball. Or like you obviously finish the set that you're doing and then slowly kind of creep up right here. You guys are going to watch anything that comes right off the ball right there. Outside's going to watch anything weird a little deeper. And then libero should be covering anything right behind / outside. It's kind of, everyone's kind of pulling close and following the opposite. You're absolutely right. So that's a good defensive coverage lineup. Not many teams do this. A lot of people are lazy on cover, but it really helps a lot. Yeah. So that's a good lineup right there. What are your like top 3 tipping roll shot spots on the court? Great question. All right. Favorite spots to tip or roll shot? Okay. This is all situational. I'm going to give you the sauce right here. I'm going to give you all the sauce. So let's say from the outside position. I think that's a good, and I'll make sure this is correct here. Okay. Say from the outside position and they're playing, let's say you have 2 blockers on you and they're playing a traditional defense, pretty much like a rotation kind of thing. Or let's say they're playing like this. Cool. Sorry, I'm moving our characters here. All right. Here's the sauce with the best places to roll shot or tip. First one. Roll shot right there. Right over the block. Unbelievable spot. You want to make sure it's high enough to get over the blockers here, but low enough so the opposite here doesn't have enough time to get it. A lot of opposites especially are slow. Sorry, opposites. I'm kidding. Or setters, but no one's going to be able to pick it up right over the block right here. Maybe the opposite, but they should be playing defense deep enough where that's a dream spot to tip. Another one, especially if the opposite's playing tighter. Oh my goodness, this is the sauce. Deep tip, deep cut roll shot to this corner right here. The reason for that is a lot of outsides play defense across the court here. Not a lot of outsides are playing that corner. So that corner is always open. Unless the outside is kind of standing more middle, that corner is always going to be open. You just need to make this roll shot high enough to get over this opposite right here. And it always helps when this player is playing a little too forward on defense. That spot is an amazing spot. Oh my goodness. Here's a third one, especially from the outside. This is not one a lot of people know, but oh my goodness. This corner right here, it's a hard spot to tip, but sometimes these outsides play really in right here, and the libero will be playing right here. If you can somehow either work on the thumb down cut, or just even a tip this way, as tight as possible to this spot of the court, that's the hardest one to pull off. No, I've never seen anyone pick that up. Only assuming the outside's here. If the outside is lazy and just kind of playing right here, they're obviously going to get it, and your best bet is with this spot of the court, kind of right in the pot. But when outsides are playing properly and they're really watching that tip or playing a rotation like here, especially if you rolled there earlier, hit them with that. They ain't getting that. So great spots to tip. I'd say those are 3 of my favorites. And it's the same if you're playing on the right side. Same idea. You got those spots available. It would just be the opposite from there. Yeah, those are phenomenal spots. And the top 3 I use. The only other one would be maybe short right here. Just like, especially if they're leaving you line, if you just kind of tip it right over the net right there, no one's getting that. Lots of great tipping spots. Okay. Where do you set your bick and pipe, and when do you set it? So the bick and pipe is basically used especially in system. And when I say in system is when the pass on serve receive is great. It goes right to the setter. It means we're in system. It means we can set anybody we want, right? So you want to set this bick or pipe, and the first thing is you don't really want to set this ball unless your outside is good and consistent at hitting it. If you don't have a good outside, or you're not at the level yet where you can hit this ball consistently, it's basically useless. It's almost like flipping a coin. You don't know what's going to happen, right? But at a high level, this is super useful because we're going to assume that you're going to run this play after you set your front row players a little bit. So the middle's getting a bunch of balls, they're getting a bunch of kills, the outside here getting some kills, and then the opposite's getting some kills. That's the perfect time to run the bick. You usually want to run it after this middle especially has gotten a few kills, because then this middle is going to stay with this middle because this middle is scared that this middle is going to hit again. And then you usually set the bick, I would say around this spot right here, depending on how far your hitter jumps. Because then this outside flies in and it basically leaves an open lane on the net right here that no one's blocking for a free attack, especially if this is a great hitter that can hit hard. So to answer your question, you run the bick after you run your front row players a little bit as an option to throw off the defense. And sometimes the defense will even watch the bick, they'll start to get scared about this guy, and then you can set the middle again, or they're not going to be ready for a quick middle attack. So you keep them on their toes pretty much. Yeah, it's a great attack, but not a lot of people do it correctly. Acid. I have a pretty weird situation. You're 183 centimeters tall, but I have a low vert. You're not fat, but somehow, even with approach and arm swing, I can barely make half my arm go over the net. It is tough, right? And timing is a big part of that. And just because you don't jump high necessarily doesn't mean you will have a bad arm swing, right? I don't have the highest vertical. I think I have a third, like when I'm max jumping, it's probably no more than a 30-inch. I would say even closer to 25, like as I'm older. So I do not have a big vertical at all. But I'm 6'2", so I have a little bit of height on that end, right? But your approach timing is a lot bigger than how high you can jump. Of course, when you can jump higher, you can hit more balls straight down. You have the height to get it down faster, but that's not everything. So focusing on contacting it at your highest point, even if that's just a little over the net, you'll have a consistent swing, right? And then what you need to focus on is, instead of trying to hit down and hard all the time, just hit your deep spots, hit the corners. You can hit any deep corner with, even if your hand is over the net, you can hit any corner. If they're blocking you, like I said earlier, hit that crap sideways off the block. You don't need to hit high to do that. Even if they're blocking as far over the net as possible, you have the timing, you can hit their hands and wipe out. You can still play very effective volleyball. And I think people don't realize that. Watch Irvin Engapeth. Even though he's a freak of nature and he can jump high sometimes and really hit the ball hard, a lot of his hits, he kind of takes a half approach and just swats it, and it goes and it works. So he's a great player that showcases that. You don't want to copy everything he does, of course, but he does it really well. Okay. This is Vietnamese coffee, by the way. So if you don't know, Vietnamese coffee is like 7 times stronger than regular coffee. So I am wired right now. And also, thank you for the questions, guys. This means so much to me. I'm so glad that I can just be yapping to y'all. And it really does mean a lot. So this has been fun. And we'll keep going from there. Let me check the stream. Perfect. Okay. Make sure I'm all good here. Okay. Sweet. I feel called out about, you mentioned people that go early. I'm sorry. I go early too. I'm always thinking I could reach the spike, but somehow always hit below the ball. If you're hitting below the ball constantly, then something to think about is speeding up your arm swing, right? And that's something you don't even need to practice jumping and hitting. Take a ball, find a wall on a gym, practice tossing it up and just hitting and snapping against the wall. Snap the ball will bounce, hit the wall, and keep snapping and try to work on your wrist. Get your wrist to hitting fast so you're hitting down with your hand on top of the ball and you're not hitting it here. Because a lot of people have a slow arm swing or they wait too long to hit. You really have to focus on getting your wrist snap down as fast as possible. So work on that drill. That's a huge one. And then, of course, that should translate to when you're in the air and jumping and all that good stuff. Okay. I actually like it when you play outside. You have really good shot selection. You don't kind of need the insane athleticism of a beast big scorer. I've worked on my vert with no success. Yeah, absolutely. Might be seeing a theme with my previous question. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I totally get it. Shot selection is really key over anything else. I'm not someone that is in hitting lines and like bouncing the ball. I have been able to bounce. I can bounce on a good set, right? But I just don't have the high enough jump to do that consistently. So I really focus on hitting deep spots, hitting off the block, all that stuff. But that's why I think I'm a good outside when I do play higher level, is because, as I mentioned earlier, my passing and defense are, not many people I think can challenge me on that. And I'm very confident about that. I will back up that talk on my passing and defense, which is why I feel like that's a crucial role for any team, right? The zone 4 tip is niche. Yes. That is one I don't see anyone do, but you have to be careful with it, right? It's a hard shot to hit, but if you can hit that, ooh, that is the best feeling. No one's getting there. Or even at like the really hard wrist down swing. Ooh. Best spots for float serving. Easy. Let's do it. All right. You want to float serve? I got you. All right. Let's just say they're lined up. These guys are passing. And let's say they're passing pretty shallow because it's a float serve. All right. You're outside one. Where do we want to float serve? Here's 3 spots to float serve. First one, between any of the seams. Can I do? Oh, I can draw circles. First float serve spots. I would say deep court right here. Oh, I don't want that circle. Stop. Stop. Oh my God. I didn't like that. Here we go. First 2 spots. Right here. You want to serve, aim between seams. And the seams are the gaps between the players here. So between 6 and 3, there's a little, there's a gap. So between these guys, you want to serve right between. So either right here, landing the ball around there, right there, landing the ball around there. Those are the first 2 spots that I would always serve with float serves. You want to make it as difficult as possible for the passers to react and decide whose ball that is, right? If you serve right to them, it's going to be a lot easier. You can still put a good float in, but when it's between people, there's more hesitation and you can absolutely score more points that way, right? First 2 spots. Next 2 spots, now let's get into some niche tips. If you float serve more, a lot of people stand in the middle of the court when they float serve, but truly, if you stand on one of the corners, either the line up here, or the line, it doesn't have to be right on the corner, right? But maybe like either right here or right here. Another spot that's great to serve, angle to angle. This one's nasty. And what I mean by that is aiming for this corner right here, but being on the opposite corner. And the reason for that is you have so much space. I'm tired of these circles. Let me get the lines. You have so much space. This is a long serve, so the ball's going to be floating for a long time, which makes it insanely hard to pass. This is the hardest ball, if you ask me, to pass when playing serve receive, because it's coming so long. It's taking forever to come all the way across the court from this corner to this corner. You should put more power on this, and this person passing is going to really struggle. If they're too tight, it's going to come up high. And if they stay back, it's just a really floaty ball to pass, really hard, really niche, but that is a demon serve. That's a demon spot. Final spot, of course, especially if you've been serving float serves deep, always recommend putting float serves really deep in the court because I think those are harder to pass. When you float serve too short, people just kind of hand pass or it's a lot easier. But the final spot is just over the tape right in the middle, right there. Or even better to the setter area, just a short serve right to this area, kind of right here. That's really hard to pass because even if they have enough time to reach there, even if it's like a higher serve, which is fine, it's a hard pass because they have to pass to the setter and then they have to get out of the way. And it kind of takes them out of the back row attack. They can't really transition fast enough to be able to attack the ball from the back row, or it will force the middle to try to pass, or it will just go right to the setter. Like it creates a lot of confusion, and that is another demon spot. So if you're going to serve short, try to serve to right where the setter is, because for them to pass, they have to kind of pass it straight up, and it's a really weird pass. It's a hard pass in general, even if they have enough time to make it there. Those are the best spots to float serve, 100%. I'm giving away all my secrets, guys. I hope you know that not many people talk about this. This is stuff that you don't find out unless you play, right? Have you ever run a league? I have not run a league. I've played in a league, but I would love to run a league. That'd be saying, and unless you mean run as in have I played a league, like have I run a league? Then yeah, I've done a couple, but they were all kind of just like college stuff. As far as adult leagues, I am interested in playing in San Diego more. I think that'd be fun. But I mainly play tournaments, like find tournaments that you just bring a team to, you play for cash, and those are really fun. So I mostly do tournaments now. Those are my favorite things to play. And I don't really play any, I was going to say like full leagues right now, but something I'm interested in. All right, who do you typically recommend for second hands in the case the setter gets first touch, oppo or lib? I'd always say libero, because opposite is usually another attacker that can attack the ball, right? So highly recommend the libero to take it, because that way the libero can't really hit the ball anyway if they're on the court. So if the libero is taking the second ball, you have pretty much all your options that can still hit. They can set the outside, they can set the opposite, like especially if the setter's back. They can set the opposite up here. They can set the middle even, set the outside, set this outside. The libero can set everyone So I highly recommend the libero taking it, and that's why I think the libero usually does take the second ball a lot of the time. You should have good hands. If the opposite does it, if the opposite's a setter and they're front row, that's a great option too, if you want to talk about that. But I would only let the opposite take it if they're a setter or if they're a strong like lefty hitter that can usually maybe hit on two even. But usually the libero should be taking it so the opposite can just transition and then be ready to get set. Then you have 3 attackers again. Yeah. Okay. Keep the high ball drill in mind for next practice. Yeah, please. Work on that high ball. It's tough. What part of your hand should the ball hit with the float serve? Again, it's the hockey puck. This is the hockey puck. Wait, I gotta zoom in for this. This is the hockey puck. So see, this is my hand. I wish I need to get I'm Canadian and I don't have a hockey puck. That's crazy. I have one at my other house, but I wish I could put like a circle on the screen. But see this palm of your hand? There's a little, it kind of cups in a little bit. It's this kind of, oh, I can't even, I'm going the wrong way on the camera. It's this circle part right here. Let's see. Right there. See that? It's indenting. It makes like, it's like the size of a hockey puck. That's why I describe it the hockey puck. Right there, that's the sweet spot because it's going to cup the ball a little bit. And if you hit it flat and firm enough and your hand straight, that's what's going to stop all the spin and just, it's going to shoot off like a floater from there. So if you're ever in doubt, just remember the hockey puck. Yeah. But that's the part of the hand that you want to contact with. Straight and hard. You can practice that against a wall. You don't need a court to serve. You can just hit that. Bang, 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 and really work on that. All right. What part of the hand? It will force the middle to pass. Yeah. Yeah. And then the game's over from there. You're talking about the short serve. Yeah. Exactly. Where do you find tourneys? A lot of the times when I find tourneys, they're from people that I do know in the volleyball community, and they're not like private tourneys, but a lot of my friends that I follow on Instagram and wherever I follow them, they post about their own tourneys that they're hosting. They're usually hosted. I'm in California, so I've been playing enough volleyball in California to know who usually host tournaments. So I follow those tournament pages, and then they'll post on Instagram or Facebook or any place that is on social media, and then I'll find out about the tourney, sign up a team. Some people send me them, but playing with a lot of volleyball or playing a lot of open gyms, you start to hear about things too, just through word of mouth. They're like, hey, are you playing this tournament next week? And I'm like, no, I didn't know about it. And they're like, yeah, it's right here. I'll send it to you. So I kind of just learned through the grapevine. Of course, you can always search volleyball tournament, and I assume those posts will kind of come up on social media, but social media is the best way to find tournaments. And word of mouth, if you're playing in the volleyball community, or even asking coaches, if you play or know coaches that are playing. A lot of coaches play these tournaments too, so that they would know. Pretty much all my friends coach in volleyball. And I am the loser that does YouTube. So, but hey, this is kind of coaching right now. So who's really up? Did you guys get any advertisements, by the way? I'm very curious. Not that I'm blasting you with advertisements, but I was curious if I could actually monetize and get a little money so I can do this more. I was just curious. I won't blast you with ads. I promise, guys. I promise. All right, what's next? Best way, what's up, awesome? Best way to drills to improve passing, and also how to address tracking from midline to sideline passes. Great. That's a great question. And we talked a little bit about this earlier, but I can go a little bit more into depth on this. So honestly, the best passing drills is just getting 3 people. And let me know if you don't have enough people for this. I can try to think of a better passing drill, but 2 people, you can do this with 2 people. But honestly, the best passing drill and stuff that I did for years and years and years and years is literally, don't ignore everyone else in the court. You get 3 people in the back, 1, 2, 3, in serve receive, and you just get a line of people in the back here, and they just keep serving. They just serve. And then there's a target. It could either be a net, a ball cart, a person, but just everyone just serving, serve, receive, just doing that over and over and over again. And what that does, first off, it's as real as it gets. It's serve receive that's all you're going to be doing in a game. But getting a line of people just blasting serves at you, and really focusing on obviously the passing, which I'll get to in a second, the second part of your question, is great. It is the best drill you can get on serve receive, because you'll go through tons of different people that have all different types of serves. It's not just one server. It's not just a machine or a ball drilling serves at you. It's a bunch of different types of humans that all have their weird, unique serves. And it puts you in the mindset of how to pass different floats, especially if they are serving their hardest serves. That is great. That is unbelievable. So for midline, sideline tracking, so it really depends on your comfort level. But I would say the best tip I have for sideline tracking, and let me know if you need something more advanced. This is the main thing that I focus on, is one thing that helps with your angles. The first thing I said earlier in the stream was moving your feet. Move your feet, please. Unless it's like right to you, but you want to get your feet to the general area of the ball before you do any of this. And it doesn't have to be right behind you, like right to your midline, right? Just move your feet to the zone where you think the ball is going as fast as possible. The sooner you do that, the much easier the pass is going to be after that. The biggest thing I think about when sideline passing is my angle of my hands, pretty much. That was my first main focus. And what I mean by that is you want to imagine your hands as you're passing. Imagine, I'm trying to do my best way to describe this now. So you have your hands, right? And I want you to imagine that your palms are always going to face the place you want the ball to go. So here's what I mean by that. So let's put our hands together like you're making the platform, right? But I'll keep my hands out. Instead of making my platform, I'll just keep my hands out. To get your angles or your sideline passing down, you want your palms to face where you want the ball to go. So if I'm passing on my left, wait, I gotta make sure I'm in camera. If I'm passing to the left of me or your right, wherever my palms are facing is kind of the direction my platform is gonna be. So I'm trying to point my palms to the setter or to the target on my sideline passing. And that's a good habit, and that was a good habit for me on how I worked on my sideline angles, right? So if the ball was coming higher up here, I would still try to point, I don't know if you can see that, point my hands to the target, even though it's over me. My hands are still pointing to the setter. Even if it's a little to the left, when you point, this keeps coming across the camera. Even if it's a little to the left of me, I'm still pointing my palms to the target. And that naturally drops my shoulders the ways you need to pass those sideline passes. And that is I think that is great advice, no matter how advanced you are, because a lot of people don't really get those angles down with sideline passing, and that's the biggest one. Focus on where your hands are going, gets you the best angles possible to get the ball back to the opposite, right? If you're shanking a lot of balls too, not swinging as much as a big one. A lot of people kind of wait here, the ball comes really high, and then they try to swing their platform. Sometimes you might need to if it's a fast float, and that's the last thing you can do. But the sooner you get the feet there and really just getting your hands to the ball as fast as possible is the main thing to focus on. Get your hands there, get your platform behind the ball, and really focus on those angles. But I'd say the hand palm tip is really big for getting your angles down because it makes sense for anything. And you don't even need to have your hands open when you're passing. Just imagine your hands were open. Those are the angles you need when passing. So that is the idea there. And if you need more like advanced passing tips, I can give a lot more too. But that's like a very beginner thing for dropping your shoulder at angles. Just like a mindset thing more than anything. What are the best plays for a setter to run to start pulling blockers for later? The middle. The more you run the middle, the more blockers you're going to pull every single time. The middle is the most dangerous person on the court, truly. I think it is, unless you have a scary attacker, that is the only caveat to this. Run the middle as much as you can. That you'll win every single time if you run the middle, right? And then as soon as like the middle becomes really dangerous, that's when you start putting it to your outside or your opposite. Now, like I said, the only caveat is, say you have an amazing attacker, like this opposite is the best player on your team, set them as much as possible early on, make them dangerous. Then these guys are going to start to worry. They're going to be like, oh, he's going to hit it again. And everyone's kind of worried. And that's when you start putting the ball to the middle, to the outside, to the other players, right? But again, set the middle, make the middle as dangerous as possible. We call this establishing the middle. The quicker you do that, volleyball is going to be so easy for you. So that is the answer to that. See ya, Damien. Thanks for coming in. We'll do this again next week. I'm premium. You have no clue. Okay, cool. Hey, that makes it easier for everyone then. That's awesome. Perfect. Yeah. Holy crap. We're caught up on questions for now. That's awesome. I don't even know when I start. How long have I been streaming for? Can I even see that? Dude, I'm such a boomer. Oh my goodness. I'm not a boomer. I'm just curious. Hey, 13 of you. That's awesome. Oh my goodness. Oh, last time I got really deep and we were talking about like life and things. That's what the stream turned into. So I'm glad you guys are asking questions and I can answer them for you. What did we talk about? We talked about like growing up, playing volleyball, all the different people, why it's so different now than later. But yeah, funny story. So kind of on that boat, when I first started playing volleyball, it was so not cool. Now, I mean, not to say it's like the coolest thing ever now, but it's a lot more socially acceptable. Like I tell people I play volleyball and they're like, oh, that's sick. But before, I would tell people I play volleyball and they're like, yeah, that's a girl sport. Like every single time without like fail. And this was like when I first started playing, like middle school, like when I was really young, everyone thought I was weird, dude. And then Haikyuu happened. The sport got a little bit more popularity. Like beach volleyball used to be cool. I mean, still is cool in my opinion back then. But yeah, it was crazy. So it's crazy to see now that volleyball is a lot more popular and socially acceptable. It was always cool. Means a lot. But yeah, okay, Levi. How would you get recruited? Best tips to get recruited: ball control. I can. So as far as getting recruited, the best skill I think that a lot of people overlook to get recruited, and I mentioned this with being an OH2 earlier, but ball control, a lot of coaches look for that. Of course, if you're 6'9", you're crushing balls, that's a great way to get recruited. I'm sure someone's going to look at you. But you have to play on a very competitive team, I would say, to get recruited to top schools. Like if you want to play D1 and stuff, unfortunately, that's just how it is. Not many D1 coaches are going to look at lower ranked teams when recruiting people. They're going to look at the top teams that are competing at the highest divisions in high school, pretty much for getting recruited, right? I'm assuming you mean at like college level too. But one way to stand out on recruitment is how good your ball control is, and attitude as a sidebar. But ball control is really highly looked at for recruitment. And then, yeah, if you have like a crazy skill or something, abusing that as much as possible, right? But once you get on a really good team and you play high level, that's the best way to get recruited. But you can also send in videos to places. You can just DM schools or find the school coach's email and send video of yourself playing. There's lots of ways you can get known, but you just got to make sure you're playing at a high enough level and you're like reasonable about it. Because say you're like a 5'5" outside that's passing okay and you're not really getting the craziest kill, no D1 college coach is going to recruit you for outside. That's just how it is. You have to also be realistic about your level compared to the kids that you see playing at the higher levels, or especially D1. I mean, you don't need to be top of the class like Dylan Klein back in high school, right? But be real with it. If you truly think you can go for a D1 spot or even D2, definitely reach out. That's another way for coaches to come through and look at you. Okay, to elaborate further on tracking sideline. For midline, do you have the mid of your body? For sideline, do you track sideline to your hips? So I don't worry about where my body is when passing on my sideline. So hips, I see what you're saying when tracking, like using your hips to track the ball. The main thing is getting your feet to the right distance the ball's coming. So what I mean by that is as you're tracking it on your side, obviously you don't want the ball too high or too low. You want to get your feet to the right area. And then the biggest thing from there is getting your platform behind the ball. So it's not as much about the hips as it is getting your platform behind the ball, no matter where the ball is. It's okay. Although I mentioned it's like if the ball's high or ball's low, and ideally that's not the best way to pass, it's okay if it's that far away. As long as you're making a move to get your platform there, it doesn't really matter where your hips are, right? It just really matters that you're making the angle with your platform wherever it is on the sideline. And that's a really hard thing to explain just over camera. But I'm not worried about where my hips are, besides, of course, staying low and not moving up and down. As I mentioned earlier in this stream, right? You're staying low, you're tracking where the ball's going, but you're just trying to get to the right distance the ball is. I'm not worried about getting right behind the ball or tracking it that way. And then whenever I make my move and it's time to pass the ball, I'm just focused on getting my platform behind the ball. I don't care what my body does after. I could do a weird spin. I could kind of lift my leg up. But as long as my platform, I'm making the move to get my platform there, it doesn't matter what my body is doing, truly. And I think that's something coaches don't really talk about much. You see the best liberos in the world or the best passers, they are moving and they're doing the weirdest stuff with their body. Eric Shoji's falling down, Grebennikov is falling. They're just doing everything, but they're just getting their platform there. That is the biggest tip for passing sideline. Move your feet, stay level, track the ball. Don't worry about what your body does. Just get your hands behind it from there. And like I said with the angle tip, that's why I mentioned facing your palms to the target. As long as you're getting your hands there, that is the best way to track a sideline ball on it. I wish I had a better answer, but truly, you do what's most comfortable for you. You can cross your feet. You can do whatever. As long as your feet are getting there and you're getting your hands behind it, that is the best thing you can do when passing sideline. And I honestly prefer passing sideline. It's more fun. And midline, I feel a lot more like constricted or restricted. I feel like, if the ball comes up too high, I might do something wrong. So I always try to pass with my hands in front as much as possible. And yeah, trying not to pass close to your body is another great tip. Keeping your hands away from your body. See how there's like a space here. I'm not passing tight like this. My hands are away from my body. So the more control, you get more control when your hands are away from your body and not tight and restricted. It's loose. You got to be loose. All good mentality things to think about as you're passing from the sideline. But you don't got to worry about where your body is as much as where your hands are. Your open friend told me to work on ball control and getting block touches. Yes, huge. Block touches are great when you're at the net and just in the right position. And you don't need to get kill blocks every time. You don't need straight down blocks to do well. As long as you're getting consistent touches, that's amazing. Would you ever do match reviews like post commentary? Yes, that's something I'm very interested in. And that's something I want to do on stream, actually. I feel like that would be really fun, is have people send in their matches and I can watch and analyze them. If that's something you guys are interested in, I would love to watch any matches or any clips you'd love to send, and I can review them live on stream. That would be great. And I'll do more of that. I'm not going to do it with like pro players because I think there's a lot of volleyball YouTubers that do it with like pro level. They provide great commentary and that's great. And I feel like I would just be doing the same thing as other YouTubers that already do it and are good at it. For instance, like Elevate Yourself does match review. Eric Shoji is amazing. His YouTube channel for watching like pro volleyball matches and giving commentary on it. I think he's great and he explains a lot of things well. Who's another? There's a few other ones. Volleyball Source is great. Although he talks more about pro players, he does do some analyses sometimes, which is great. I remember PME's volleyball highlights. That would be cool if you brought that. Oh, do you mean like my own highlights or reviewing my own games? I didn't realize. If that's what you mean, that would be interesting too. I've never really analyzed my own games. That's another good idea, actually. Yeah, that's something I really want to do. But it would either be my own stuff or I would have you guys send in stuff where I can help you directly. That way it's more personal and not just pro level volleyball. Unless you guys want to see me analyze like college pro level too, I can do that. I just think a lot of people already do that and I just don't want to do the same thing as other people. I want to be able to provide my own space for people where there's something that doesn't exist yet, right? Okay. As an opposite, how do you close the gap in the block between you and the middle? Should I let my middle establish where to block? Yeah. If you're if the ball is set in the middle of the court, usually the middle is kind of the captain of the blocking there. So wherever the middle is choosing to line up, you're just trying to fill your hands in the space to close off the space between you guys right here. Let me draw it in. So I'm just gonna move it for the sake of this. So if you're coming here, the middle is gonna line up where the middle lines up. So to say the middle lines up here, your job is to just try to fill that space wherever the middle lines up. So even if you need to move your hands more sideways, you're just trying to close off that gap so the setter and other people can play defense around it. If that gap is open, bang, kill every single time, right? So see where the middle is established, and you're always going to go to the middle there. He had a series where he had fans send in their highlights, and you rate them and put them on a tier list and rate them out of 10. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, dude, that's a slippery slope, right? I would, of course, love to see highlights, but rating highlights, dude, like, I love the tier list stuff. I would rate like fails or like funny plays. I feel like people would feel bad if I like was like someone sent in their highlight that they really liked, and I'm like, that's a 4 out of 10. I feel like that's messed up, man. Like, I just want to enjoy highlights. So I could definitely react, analyze highlights, and all that stuff. Rating is crazy though. I don't know if I'd find a way to rate, like in a good way. I think that's something I would need to figure out how to do without just like making people mad all the time. So yeah, that's a great idea. So I would totally do that. The tier list, the highlight tier list. I would love to do like a top 10. I feel like that'd be fun, like top 10 clips from the week. But I'm realistic. I want to make sure I have enough people sending me in, and I don't want to just make my channel reacting to other people. Even though I want that to be a big part, I feel like that is also not saying anyone else just does this, but like just lazy if you're only just reacting to other people, right? Like, I want to be able to provide some analysis or something, or be able to help out versus just being like, oh, that was cool, and that's all I say, you know? I want to be able to help people as much as I can. But yeah, I'll find a way where I can do all of that, right? When it comes to your own playing, are you focusing on getting better or just having fun these days? So I am a perfectionist. I think we talked about this earlier. I forget who was talking about this earlier with me. But I'm always trying to get better, with a huge caveat. I'm not like currently training volleyball skills daily. Like, I'm not going to practice and working on my defense or working to play at a higher level. But I'm always working on new skills or new ways to play the game that makes me better, or just on my consistency in playing at a high level. So the answer is kind of both. I am focusing on keeping my skills up, trying new things. That's why I do a lot of weird stuff in my videos, because I love trying new things. And I think I'm at the level that I am now, where I can just try a bunch of fun things to see if they work, and also see what new plays I could go for and really improve. But like, for instance, right now I'm working on my outside hitting. I want to become a better hitter, and I am working on that a little bit, but my goal is not to play at a higher level. My goal is just to play for fun or play tournaments and really just have a good time with the sport. Just because I know there's other things in life that I want to do that's not just volleyball. Volleyball is just a fun thing for me, and I always want it to just be a fun thing. And I feel like if I play at a higher level or try to play at a higher level, it's not going to be as much fun for me anymore, especially with a channel like Jolly-Ball. I want it to be fun. I want to be able to give back. I want to coach. I want to show people things, be entertaining. And that's where volleyball is the most fun for me. So yeah, I am focusing on fun a lot, but that doesn't mean I'm not trying to get better at the same time. I hope that makes sense. Always want to get better, and I always get mad when I don't play that well. And dude, here's some advice, or not advice. Here's like a big thing that has been happening recently. I'm not the biggest YouTuber in the world. I'm a really small YouTuber, right? Small content creator still, but people do still recognize me at gyms, which is really cool. I'm super grateful that people are like, hey, it's Jolly-Ball. But people that know me or have seen my videos try so hard against me. Like, whenever I play like open gyms, they are playing like it is their tournament championship. I swear. Like, they will not, maybe it's because I'm filming too, so that's probably it. But it makes me like have to focus so much on my play. And then I'm just like, oh my goodness, I can't catch a break. I gotta hang here. I have to stay up. And then if I lose, it's like, oh, we just beat Jolly-Ball and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, I have to play so hard every single time. It's annoying sometimes, but it does make it so much fun. So I wouldn't trade it for the world. What's up, Sum Sum? Sum Sum Song, I love that. That's a fun name. Hey, the Bokuto, I love that. Okay, Fred, you may have spoken about this earlier. Would you be open to speaking about how you contact the ball when setting? indoors, how close your forehead and mindset and the mindset when redirecting the ball. Absolutely, I can speak a little bit. I don't think we've discussed setting at all this stream, surprisingly. So that's great. So here's a weird tip that no one talks about. I feel like in every volleyball tutorial, when they talk about setting, they just kind of talk about where to place your hands and all that stuff. Where on your forehead, where you set, it really depends on how big your hands are and how much strength you have. I know that's a weird thing to say, but some people have, everyone has different hands. Like my fingers are really long. So I have long fingers, and because I have long fingers, I don't really set at my forehead as much. I can, but my fingers are so long, it almost like hits me in the nose, and I have a big nose, see? So like, it's just gonna smack me. So I honestly set a little bit lower. Like I set here a lot, just so my fingers can go back far enough. That's something that no one talks about. I've never seen anyone talk about length of your fingers. So you have to be realistic with how big, excuse me, I just spit, how big your hands are and how much power you have. So biggest thing for contacting the ball when setting, everyone says it differently. I say just put your hands on your hips, put your hands on your hips and then just bring your hands up. That's kind of the general rule of thumb. It's almost like making a triangle with your hands like this. But that size and how big the triangle is depends on how big your hands are. So here, I contact it pretty wide. I have pretty, I think, big, long hands. So my hands are more out here. Oh, let me get back in camera. My hands are more out here than they are tight. But someone with shorter or thicker fingers contacts the ball probably a little closer to get the power and feel that they need to push the ball out. So it all depends on your hands and what feels good for you. But the main thing is you're cupping the ball and you're releasing the ball at the same time, right? Everyone says something differently. So many tutorials say different things, but find a good place that feels good where you can cup the ball. And then the one way I practice this is just by throwing the ball up and down to myself, not setting it, just catching it, throwing it, catching it, throwing it. And then you kind of get the feel of how it's leaving your hands. And then when you feel good with that, start to speed up that process a little bit. So catch, 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 catch it in that setting form, catch, 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 and then go faster. Catch, catch, catch and throw, and then you're setting pretty much from there. Just like that. And then you can figure out where you want your hands to be and how that feels releasing from you. And I would do that before you start playing matches and things like that. You can obviously do that in game and get better at that, but that's just a thing to figure out before you start setting consistently. What feels comfortable for you? Where do you want to set? Obviously, maybe you don't want to set at your chest, right? Try to focus on the forehead, but it's okay if it's not at the top of your forehead. Coaches tell you that, but if it's a little bit lower, a little higher, whatever's comfortable for you. Everyone has a different way of doing it, especially at higher levels. I know it's a weird mentality answer, but that's my goal with these live streams, to tell you tips that you won't find in volleyball tutorials, right? Any tips on getting better at serve receive? I bump pass mainly because my hand passes hurt, so I still have weak hands. All right. So we talked about serve receive a little bit earlier, but this is actually a great thing that I want to talk about too. So if you ever watch any of my videos, I will never hand pass on serve receive ever. And the reason for that is, I mean, I do have a good reason. Both of my thumbs are actually sprained. I've sprained both my thumbs. So if anything hits my thumb weird on a hard ball, or I do something that hits my thumbs too hard, it will re-sprain my thumb and I'll get injured. So I only pass platform no matter what serve comes to me. I will never use my hands. So that's perfect. And I also had weaker hands as a libero. So I just passed with my platform the entire time. So that's great. It's a great tip. It's funny that you say that because that's exactly what I do. Getting better at serve receive, I will kind of echo what I said earlier, but the biggest thing is, first off, especially if you're not using your hands, firstly, say you're the libero right here, start deep on the court. There's no need to be standing up here, especially if you're not using your hands, because starting deep gives you more time to watch the ball and react accordingly. And it's much easier to run forward to get the short ball than it is to run backward and try to pass with your platform. That's tip number one. Tip number two is what I said earlier, and I will echo, it is the word of today's stream. It is move your feet as fast as possible. Get your feet there. Again, you don't need to get your feet Like say the ball's coming here, you don't need to get your feet right behind the ball. No. But don't wait for the ball to be right here before moving your feet, right? Once you see the ball start to go kind of, say the ball's floating, it's kind of going over here, you should already kind of be over here anticipating where that ball's going. And then it kind of comes up here, then you can make the pass, right? From there. But don't let the ball get too far before moving. Move your feet as soon as possible. You're faster than you think. Just move your feet, track the ball, and once you get there, focus on getting that angle from there, right? You don't need to pass directly in the middle, but focusing on getting your angles, but moving your feet first helps so much. Trust me. And that's the main tips I'll give you for now. We can talk more about angling later. I have an angling tutorial, but yes, I will happy to go into that later. But I think the stream is being recorded, so we did talk a little bit about that earlier as well. All right, Drew. As a volleyball creator, wondering if you currently use any AI tools to remove downtime between rallies for your videos, or are you currently doing it manually? So the only AI I actually use is the CapCut AI voices for my clips. That's literally all the AI I've ever used. I just try not to use AI in general, even though there's so many good AI tools that help with downtime rallies and things like that. But I do everything manually. I go back through the videos and I watch all the moments, because the reason that I do it manually is there's so many good, funny moments that's not always playing or like a rally or a play. That is, I would say, like, just because there's an interesting or a hard hit or something, there's so much good stuff in between plays that happens sometimes that I think is really funny. And I think that's what makes the videos feel supernatural, human. I would describe my videos as something that you could watch while like eating lunch, or like you're eating dinner and you need a video to put on in the background. Like, it's just super casual, fun. Sorry, that's a long answer to your question, but no, I go through everything manually because there's a lot of moments that I like to find in there, and it makes me happy to watch our like dialogue or our teammates having fun. That's why I started clipping in general, and that's why I love it. But no AI currently. Yeah. And yeah, I have my own opinions on AI, but that's going to be that's a discussion for another time. Dude, there's AI volleyball channels now. I mean, there's been AI channels for a while, but there's been so much AI volleyball lately. It's insane. I'm not that I'm scared that it's taking my job, but I'm just like, dang, it sucks that people, like, it's just fully AI. And I'm like, that's so annoying. Follow the people that make volleyball, dude. I won't go down that rabbit hole. But yeah, lots of great AI tools in general that make things faster. There's things that cut out clips. I don't know any off the top of my head. I've just seen my friends use those. Really helpful. Someone else told me that I'll find my setting style with time and not to overthink the touch. Loose wrist too. I'm working on that. Thanks for my fellow Canadian. Hey, welcome. Yeah, I'm a Canadian that lives in California now, but I'm originally from Toronto. So welcome. But yeah, setting style comes with time, and you find your own way of setting. You do not have to copy other people's setting, because I think I have a really weird opinion on things, but my opinion is there's not one style that works for anyone. Hitting, setting, of course you can learn the basics and fundamentals, but then you got to find your own way of playing. My arms bend strangely, like my arms bend inward, so I don't have the same hit as like someone else that has a straight arms more. I can do weird kind of movements with my arms that other people can't do, and other people can do things that I can't do. So you got to find what works for you. It's a weird thing to say, but it really does matter. Rank all 5 main positions in volleyball. Slander. Absolutely. So opposite, last place. Opposite is the easiest position I've ever seen in my life. What do you mean you don't have to serve receive and all you do is block and hit hard and then you get rewarded for that? And you're the highest paid position in pro volleyball? Come on now. Anyone can play opposite. Come on now. All right, coming in right above that, I would have to give it to the outside. It's such an overrated position. Oh my God. Like, sure, you serve receive, you have to side out, but no one blames the outsides as much as they blame the setter. Oh my goodness. No one blames the outsides. It's the outside's fault most of the time. They're the ones playing bad. They're the ones not siding out. Right after that, I would say the setter. The setter is kind of right in the middle, I would say. It is the hardest position, I would say second hardest position to play, takes a lot of IQ, but setters can be so trashy sometimes. They think they're amazing. They think everything they set is amazing. And like, calm it down. Reel it in a little bit, all right? Like, you set that ball 20 feet off the net and you're acting like it's the hitter's fault? What are we doing here? And then they just try to dump it, and it's like they don't get many points off it, and they keep trying to do too much. Let's calm it down. Let's reel it in. Of course, even though I am a libero is number 2, solely for the reason that I think they get overshadowed by everything. They're doing the hardest skill, service heave. Yeah, outsides do service heave too, but everyone rewards the outsides, but no one rewards the libero for being everywhere, doing everything. Oh my goodness. The libero has to do everything, and if a libero makes a mistake, God forbid a libero makes a mistake. Oh my gosh. You're the worst person ever. You're the worst person to ever play volleyball. Calm it down. Oh my goodness. They do so much and get no credit. Number 1 is the middle. Everyone loves a middle, right? But no one wants to play middle. No one wants to put in the work. They are the most crucial position in volleyball, the hardest position to play physically, if you ask me. They need to get all the credit in the world. We love our middles. And of course, all liberos love a middle. Middle libero connection is elite. It's the top 2 connection in volleyball. Middle is the number 1. I hate middle so much. I hate playing middle, which is why I love it so much, because I respect. That's the only position that I respect more than libero. That's my ranking. Take it or leave it. I don't care. That's my ranking. You get it. If you know, you know. I've had both of my thumbs sprained too. Definitely not wanting that again. Absolutely. It's like an 18 month thing to heal, and they still haven't healed properly. So I just try not to put too much pressure on them, which is why I just pass with my platform. Hopefully you can hear me. Is it Amon? Yeah. But it seems like other people can. So hopefully it works for you soon. Yeah. No hesitation on the yeah, of course. No, you can literally ask me anything. I will rant about anything, dude. Oh my gosh. That's such a funny question. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of, I feel like there's a lot in volleyball alone. There's a lot of arguments on like positions, how hard things are, who's the hardest. It is, and it's different depending on who you ask, honestly. It's pretty amazing how much people argue about things in volleyball. I think about that a lot. Like, I don't know another sport where people argue so much about something like this, right? Let me wipe my nose. Okay. How valuable do you think left setter oppos are? I don't think you need to be a lefty to be an amazing setter, but I think a lefty setter oppo, insanely valuable. It's the natural, the reason for that is because on the right side of the court, hitting the ball with your left hand is advantageous. You have an advantage hitting with the arm that's closer to the inside of the court because the ball doesn't need to travel across your body before you hit it. And that is a huge advantage. So if you are good at hitting and you're a lefty, it's kind of the natural way to hit the ball. It's a lot easier of a hit for you, just in general. But if you look at the best opposite hitters in the world, almost none of them are lefty. And some of the best outsides in the world are lefty. Like Michieletto, the Italian outside hitter, who's probably top 3 right now, if not top 1. He's a lefty outside hitter. He's like 6'10". Yeah. And then on the right side, like literally pretty much every oppo right now, I'm trying to think of a lefty. Of course, you have the Japanese Miura, who's lefty. Nishida. Those are lefties. They're phenomenal. But pretty much everyone else that I can think of is a righty. Look at Namir from the Netherlands. Look at Matt Anderson. Look at Gregory Grosjean from Germany. All the top opposites are all righty. And it's crazy. But I think lefty is really big and has a really big advantage. But like my point earlier, you don't need to be lefty to be an opposite or outside. But I think they're valuable for sure. A lefty setter can do so much, right? But again, a lot of the setters are not lefty, but they can be ambidextrous. Micah Christensen, he's almost basically is ambidextrous. He can hit the ball with his left hand. He's worked on that. So it really does make a difference. Toronto based as well. What's up? Let's go. What do you think of the volleyball scene here? I play with XTSC, TDVC. Used to do some social leagues in Jam, but expensive and comp is mixed. So here's the thing. I don't know much about the Canadian volleyball scene, right? Like, I moved to America when I was younger. So I grew up playing American volleyball. So I know the teams, and I like my a lot of my like parents are friends with like coaches in Canada and some of like the college teams there. But as far as like the open gym scene or the leagues or anything like in the adult scene, I have no idea. But I would love to come back to Canada. I come to Canada a few times a year, pretty much, to just to visit family and whatnot. Pretty much all my family's in Canada and Toronto. So if you have any gyms, or like, just let me know, because I do want to pull through to some Canadian Open gyms or anywhere that you can play for free, because I feel like that would be fun. But I know Canadian college teams, insanely good. I think sometimes they're better than American teams. Like the TCU team was the Trinity Western team. TW team was so good a few years ago. They're still good. Like, oh my God, they're still so good. And Dinos are good. What's some of the other teams? I don't know as far as like this season. I haven't been keeping up, but they're really good players from Canada. And Canada has a really good national team too. They just choke. They just they have the players. They have the ability to go far, and they just never do, unfortunately, right now. So I'm still rooting for them. Still got to root for the Canadians. But yeah, I'm very curious what your opinion on Canadian volleyball is then, as someone that is still in Canada. That'd be great. Let me know. I'm genuinely curious. Do you think that pro high-level teams should utilize a 6-2 rotation? It depends. Yes, if you need to. I just think the 5-1 is so valuable, especially at a higher level, where everyone can be an attacking option. And at the highest level, you don't really need to play a 6-2 if you have a really good setter, right? Look at the Japanese team with Sakita. For those that don't know, the Japanese national team setter, probably the starter right now still, Sakita. I don't know what his height is. I think he's like 5'10", if not 6 foot. Really short, right? For the pro level volleyball, really short, probably the shortest setter. But they still run a 5-1, and he just doesn't always block. He'll still jump up and block, but sometimes he'll just play defense and the middle will block for him, because the 5-1 is so advantageous for him to keep setting anyone on the court, even when he plays front row. So with that being said, I think if there's a good reason to use a 6-2, absolutely. Like if you want to run two setters and always have a good opposite front row. But I think the momentum you get from a 5-1, which is keeping people on the floor, not having to sub in and out, and keeping people hot and having that momentum, is much more beneficial at a higher level, where like all the players are so good, you don't really need that 6-2, right? It's better to just have that setter constantly get touches. That's my take on it, and that's why I think a lot of teams don't run a 6-2. But I've seen it before. It definitely happens. It's very situational too. Javelin is a great app for Toronto drop-ins. Canadian volleyball scene, I can't say much. Honestly, watch Nippon or creators such as yourself, Makuro, Out of System, Coach Donnie. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Makuro is the only... I assume MK is Makuro volleyball. He's the one guy I see play Canadian, and he's probably the... Unless I've seen Out of System do it a couple times. I think play international, but yeah, definitely Makuro is the only person I've seen in that Canadian scene that I really know, that I've gotten a vibe of what the volleyball is like. And I think he's phenomenal. I would love to play with him one day. But I love his content as well. I enjoy watching him and seeing what it's like over there. Do you ever thought about pulling up to an out-of-system grass tourney this summer? Yeah, would love to. That'd be super sick. I think it'd just be fun to play in. And they are probably the hottest volleyball YouTubers at the current moment right now, which is super cool. Would love to meet them. I haven't met them yet. Yeah, I don't think I've ever run into them, but love what they're doing. Oh my gosh. It's so cool to see. And they're so good at volleyball. They are like ridiculously good. I don't think I think they do, but I also don't think they don't, because they're so goofy all the time. Well, especially Gage, but they are so ridiculously good at volleyball. It's insane. I feel like average people watching don't like understand how good they are. Of course, they all play pro, but just that aside, they're phenomenal volleyball players. Holy crap. So that'd be fun. I would lose. I would get destroyed by them. 100%. I would dig them, but I would still lose. No, I'd win. I would win. Start some beef. I'm kidding. Salmon Fest. I actually have never heard of Salmon Fest. Is that a tournament in Canada hosted by Out of System? I'm curious. Oh my gosh. And let me just check the stream. Oh my goodness. Some of my friends are texting me because they're watching the stream. For the friend that's watching, yes, I will call soon. I owe one of my friends a phone call. But I will be streaming for the next 20, 30 minutes or so, just so you guys know. But I will post and put up a stream schedule so I can do these more consistently. And I will probably do them later in the day when people are off work and school and all that stuff. Just later, so we can get a vibe of how many people can make it in the future. So I, again, appreciate you guys for being here. But yeah, I'll keep answering questions for a little bit, and then we'll go. Okay. BC grass tourney. Oh my gosh. And what a combo. Setter, libero. The connection is insane. And very strong court awareness and athleticism. Yeah. It is like, honestly, if a libero can hit really well, they're going to be a very dangerous player. Like, that's why I think liberos are really good at like grass and beach, just because they already have the passing setting down most of the time. It's just like the attacking. And someone like Gage, or even the Worsley brothers in general, like the setter libero combo, it's people that are really good at passing and setting and just have the ball control. They're going to eat up any tournament. And then you have someone like Micah Ma come in, who's just a freak of nature athlete. Come on now. Right? You need to sign up like January to get into it. Wow, really? It's that big in BC? Oh, in Vancouver specifically. Yeah. Holy crap. I did not know that. I have an aunt that lives in just past Vancouver. So I've been in I was just in Vancouver a little bit ago, or just in Kelowna. So that's so cool in BC. Oh my gosh. But yeah, Out of System tends to come and play out there. Would love to run that one day. Yeah, absolutely. I want to travel more. But of course, I need to really focus on growing the brand, making a little bit of money so I can travel, because we all have to make money a little bit. So that's my goal too. Like I do want to make a little money so I can travel and play these tournaments, you know? It's because in a lot of Out of System videos, Gage is playing outside and they're surrounded by less comp, but the bigger picture comes to frame when you see their highlights or watch EuroLeague. Absolutely. That's exactly the point too. Like when they're playing international, insane. But and I would compare that to myself too, or like channel like Volleyball, where most of the time I'd say like 99% of the videos you see like goofy clips, shanks, funny moments and stuff. But like, I don't think I've ever showed like playing on a team or like higher comp. So you don't really realize like sometimes the skill level of people until you see it against higher competition, right? Which is cool, which is fine. I don't mind. It's kind of fun. I feel like I get to, dude, people talk crap a lot. So I gotta back it up when I do play. Any tips for beginner, and this from Drew, any tips for a beginner intermediate player attempting to play middle? I have difficulty using a 3-step approach as a middle and find it more effective using a 2-step. True? Absolutely. Use a 2-step approach. That is okay. You do not need to use a 3-step approach. I know coaches will try to tell you to always use a 3-step if you can, but if it's working for you, freaking just do it. Like, do what feels natural to you. Of course, if it's like holding you back a lot and you're not really getting to that point, maybe, it's take a step back and really work on the 3-step to get it down. But if the 2-step is what's working right now, I would use it. But the only thing is, if you feel like you're not getting enough height or enough power on the jump, then it might be better to use that 3-step just for the sake of getting stronger power and a bigger approach on that. So one advice I'd say if you want to get into the 3-step approach is getting as far off the net as you can as a middle. As a middle, you need to have enough space to do a full approach to jump. Not always. Like a 2-step sometimes works. When it's a fast play, you need to just get up and be ready. But if you have enough time, getting as far off the court, for instance, right here, you're number 5 middle, getting as far off as you can, especially past the 10-foot line. So when the ball comes to the setter, you're already ready to get up there and jump. That is a big tip, right? But that takes a level of comfort. But I'm always a believer, if the 2-step is working and it's effective, use it, right? And then you can learn more from there. welcome to all the new people coming in. I'm glad you can make the stream. I'll do a later stream in the future so more people can come in later. So I'll be streaming for the next half hour. I'll answer all your last questions. And then, I'll be doing a stream next week too. So I'll get a stream schedule going. I'll have all the fancy bells and whistles. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to be a streamer. I'm going to tell my parents I'm not going to be a YouTuber anymore. I'm going to be a streaming YouTuber. Jonah's a secret middle, by the way. Don't tell anyone. Once I grow my mustache back, I'm going to play middle, and I'm going to be the most San Diego-looking person you've ever seen. Yeah, mustache is coming back. Maybe. Hopefully. If people don't make fun of it. Yeah, you live in Vancouver. It's huge here. Wow, I did not know that. Everyone plays ball here, comes out to at least watch anyone in the area like Alberta, Edmonton. Wow, that's awesome. Like, that makes me so happy that it's such a big thing where you are. Something that's huge. That'd be so cool to see. I have to go and visit. What's up, Melissa? Yeah, that is me. Yeah, I'm gonna be full-time streamer. You know how it goes now. Nimbus, yo, what's up? So I was going to play a grass tourney in May, but I accidentally double booked myself recently. So I can no longer make that tournament, but I will be playing more grass tournaments pretty much coming up throughout all of June, July. I'm trying to spam as many grass tournaments as I can. So that will be IV ball, long live grass, all the grass tournaments in Southern California, pretty much. And then I'm also hosting a tournament soon, very hush-hush, with YouTubers and stuff. So it's going to be fun. Don't tell anyone. You didn't hear that from me. Yeah, the one I was going to play was going to be Long Live Grass. But yeah, like I said, I accidentally double booked. I totally messed up my schedule. So I feel bad about that. This is like the second time I've screwed up recently. So I need to lock in my calendar because I'm not doing well. What's up, Grace? Howdy, I'm a setter. I also hit as well, but not often. How do I work on jumping higher? Okay, I am probably not the best person to talk about jumping higher because my vertical is so low. But 2 ways to jump higher. One, getting your approach down correctly. That is one way you can immediately start jumping higher if you're approaching correctly. Because if you're not approaching the best, you're not going to jump as high. And the biggest thing I would say is approaching from further away or having a lot longer first step gives you a lot more momentum to transition into the power of your jump. And that's the one thing I would say. Focus on going from that slow to fast. I'm sure you've heard before, but just to remind, you start slow, taking a big step, and then as you get into your last 2 steps, you're exploding. It's a lot of power. You're driving into your step close before you jump up. So really locking in that approach will immediately make you jump higher. But the rest after that, you really got to work on that. It's really all gym and plyometrics, right? So I'm not the person to talk about this since I don't do... I used to do this when I played high school, college. I don't do that many plyometrics anymore. But you got your explosive movements like box jumps where you're jumping down from a box and then immediately jumping after to really kind of spark your muscles and train them into jumping in that explosive movement. So plyometrics like that, where you're doing quick explosive movements and training, that is a big one. And then also weight, really working on like those squats and strengthening your legs. That will be the other side of it. So a lot of those, basically the combination of gym, getting weight on your legs, being able to lift more weight with your legs, and also those explosive movements, the combination of that will increase your vertical. But that's pretty much as I want to go into. I do not want to tell you more specifics because I am not a trainer, and I've learned in the past if I try to give training advice, people are going to correct me that know a lot more about it than me, and I don't know enough about it to really give you specific things. Watch MK3 or Isaiah Espinoza. I believe they're doing, Isaiah Espinoza, if you don't watch him, he is one of the highest jumpers in the world. He has 50-inch plus vertical, and he does jump training. And MK3, another YouTuber that I know in the area, started working with him to increase his vertical, and I think he's doing a series on jumping higher. So I would watch his videos. I haven't seen the video or the exact exercises they're doing, but yeah, MK3 Volleyball is doing that series with Isaiah right now on increasing his vertical, and I think that's a great way to watch how a volleyball player is increasing their vertical in real time. Yeah. It's super cool. Yeah, absolutely. I got you. You are now the last person in your reel backing out of... You are now that person in your reel backing out of tourneys last minute. Yes, I exactly am. Luckily, I still did it 2 weeks in advance. So that's enough. That's a good amount of time. No, I still feel terrible. I don't want to be that guy. But yeah, I'm unfortunately that guy. But at least I realized it with 2 weeks before versus the day before. That would have been tragic. Oh my gosh, I need to get better at it. I can't believe I messed up that. Seriously, I feel so bad about it. Yeah, holy crap. I'll definitely check it out. Yeah, of course. I got you. There's so many good people that do like training videos like that. So yeah, I'm the last guy to get jumping advice from. I don't jump that high. Those dudes going to be in your grass tourney? Maybe someone, maybe 1 or 2 people will be in the grass tourney. I don't know. I don't know what dudes will be in the grass tourney. How's San Diego? San Diego is beautiful. It is. I'm still trying to get a kind of a grip of the volleyball scene down here. It's been tough. It has been really tough, I will say. Like, I feel like I'm originally from, or I've been playing volleyball in Orange County. And for those that don't know, I recently moved to San Diego. So I've been trying to meet a lot more players and play at new places, but I haven't been finding, I would say, the best gyms, or as many gyms as OC. Especially the level of play at OC is just a lot higher. So when I mean tough, it's been tough to find high level ball that's not in tournaments or at a gym called Doyle. There's some great players at every gym and they're high level, but the general level of the open gym is a lot lower than when I played in Orange County. So yeah, I guess it's time to grind beach then. Yeah. And I love playing. I'll play at any volleyball level. I don't care. But the thing is, as someone that plays higher level, usually when you play at a lower level a lot, it's not as good for either player. Because for me, not to say it's easier, I feel like that's the wrong word and that sucks to use, and I will still get absolutely blocked by these players. I'll get crapped on, all that stuff. But you want to try to play at a level that's better than you for most of the time if you truly want to get better. So if you're constantly playing at gyms where the level is not as good or is lower, it's harder to be as engaged and get good reps out of it. And that's just the truth. Like, you don't really see D1 players like playing casual as much, maybe for fun, but it's for consistent reps, they're playing at higher levels, right? So trying to find like good consistent ball. I'm not too picky, but like Doyle, a gym called Doyle has been great, like great level volleyball, but it's good to play high level ball. Like, I do miss high level volleyball. I feel that high level ball in SD always happens in private runs. Yeah, from what I've heard. And I've played like 1 or 2 privates that have been great. But yeah, private runs are definitely where the highest level comes out for sure. Yeah, low-key start to play down to everyone's level and rely on bad habits. Yeah, I think that's the thing people don't realize too, is like when you're playing lower level, you're not as mentally into it, if that makes sense. You're not hitting as hard, you're not jumping as much because it just feels so much slower. Especially if your setter is also playing it lower, not hitting you as fast. Of course, you can talk to them and there's other solutions, but I feel like you're not going to play your best volleyball. You're kind of just going to play a little bit less or play a little bit down, right? And that's nothing against the players that play at the gym. It's just there's different levels of experience and what you're used to playing, right? As you get better, you want to play better players. And I've been playing a long time. So what's your take on ranking system and what's the difference between NAGVA ranks and beach? Ranking system is really weird. That's a great question. So for those that don't know, the ranking system in beach volleyball, there's different levels of how quote unquote good you are at the sport. So for instance, in beach volleyball, if you want to get ranked in beach volleyball, there's different levels. There's double B, there's B, there's A, double A, triple A, open. And it's kind of like if you're like playing Valorant or like a video game, it's like different ranks that you can climb where you can play better and better competition as you go up the ranks. And then they watch your games and they basically rank you depending on how good you are at the sport. I think beach ranks are pretty accurate because beach ranks they don't just watch you and you're like, you're level A or you're level B, maybe when you first get ranked, but you play against people and depending on the skill level you're playing at and where you're consistently winning or losing at, that's kind of the rank you are, right? If you're playing double A and you're constantly getting in the top of that like rank or maybe even and finally win a tournament, then yeah, you move up a rank, you're triple A, but it doesn't mean they're going to say, no, you're double B. It's not as loose. The thing with NAGVA, which is another system that ranks you. I think they rank you more on what they watch from you, and I am so biased against this because in my NAGVA rankings, I'm double B everything, right? So there's different ranks. You can be A ranked and you can be double B ranked. NAGVA basically kind of watches you and says, you're double B ranked, or like I guess you're an A, you're hitting too hard. And it's a little bit more, I think, opinionated than beach volleyball, which is why I'm a little bit more biased to it. And of course, it sounds like I'm salty that I'm ranked so low, but I also just don't think it's fair because I played double B tournaments and they feel really low level compared to what I usually play. And I could play higher if I want to. Like I can play an A level as a double rank, but I think just the ranking system seems weird. It just seems like if you don't look like you're good, they're going to rank you lower, regardless of what you do. Because it feels more opinionated based off what I've seen, in my experience. Yeah, crazy answer, but yeah, it's a weird system. It feels more subjective, exactly. Doyle's the best yeah, I agree. So far, that's the best I could play. Volleyball down here. Could you help me with defense as an option and where to position yourself in the back row? I absolutely can. Let's do it. All right. This is you right here. You're number 6. You're playing opposite defense, and we're going to talk about where you play defense in the back row. So we'll go through the sets real quick, and I'll show you where a good way to line up is. So say the ball is being set to the outside right here. This outside's coming in. You have 2 blockers up. It's very common for you, the opposite. There's 2 ways you can play defense here, but a standard way to play defense, this is not true all the time, but usually the setter is going to block angle with the middle right here, and then you're going to just take a step and hop on this line right down here. So you're going to watch any ball that comes right down the line. That's kind of your defense zone on the outside. If it's a little tip, you'll get the tip too. You're kind of playing defense in this whole area right there. Do I have my circle? This is kind of your zone right here. You're getting everything that's over the block right there, right? Now, if the middle's hitting, we talked about this earlier, but assuming the middle is one-on-one, you're just going to take a step into the court right here. Kind of in this like base position where you usually hang out, just in this corner right here, because you're going to watch any middle that tries to attack right down this line, right here. You're kind of watching that crash shot. So that's a general rule of thumb when you're playing opposite there. And finally, if this opposite is hitting on this side, and let's say you have 2 blocks up, usually this person will be dropping back. Libero's watching the line. And I would say we're playing traditional defense. You're going to kind of open up a little bit. So you're going to open up a little bit, and maybe take a step inside the court right here. Because you're watching this big cross shot. I know you can't really see here, but you're kind of watching this cross shot around the block this way. The setter should take the tighter one, and you're watching your spot too. So you're not really moving too much, but those are the different kind of lineups as an opposite when you're playing back row defense. Again, this is not every defense rotation, but this is a good rule of thumb. If you don't know what your teammates are doing or what they're doing there, you're kind of lining up around the block accordingly to dig those balls. So again, on the line, a little in for the middle, and then just opened up for the opposite. Hopefully that answers your question, but that's a great question. This is why I have the little court up on screen so I can show all these things. This is great. Do you have to pay to play in a lot of gyms in OC? I feel like the free entry style is nice, but then the level is hard to manage. Yes, you do usually have to pay in OC. In fact, I don't think there's a gym where I did not have to pay in Orange County, where in San Diego, it feels like everything is free, which is awesome. Oh my goodness, that's so accessible. But you're right, the level is hard to manage here. And the thing in OC is a lot of gyms, you have to sign up on some sort of thing online before you go play. It's not like you just show up and see who's there. So when you sign up, usually the level of play is a lot higher, right? Which I do like, because you kind of know what you're getting into. For instance, if I'm playing at a gym called like AIM, which is in Seal Beach, that gym is going to be a much higher level, right? Than like with the signups, and when they're separating advanced and intermediate players, that gym's going to be at a much higher level than something where it's just the gym's open and anyone can show up. Because there's been players that have been completely new to volleyball that I've played with, which is like, it's just unfortunate because when you're starting out in volleyball, it's hard to play with people that actually play volleyball, that have been playing a lot longer. That's what I don't want to sound like I mean. That's not what I meant to say. Because when you're starting out, you want to play with people maybe that are a little better than you, but are at your skill level, so you can learn the game, keep up, and get moving on that, and like get those skills locked in. But if you're playing against someone like me, who's been playing like 15 years and you've never played before, there's no point. Like, it's so hard to keep up with that. And it's not going to be fun for me. It's not going to be fun for you. It's not going to be fun for anyone at that point. You want to try to match your skill level. And it's so hard to do that and regulate that. So I get it. I totally get it. So luckily there's been gyms I've seen where it's a lot beginner friendly and it's just finding out like where to go. It's tough. There's not like a place where it's like, this is the beginner gym. This is the intermediate gym. This is the advanced. It's not that black and white. It's kind of like, oh, this gym usually is pretty beginner. This one is usually more advanced, but you know, anyone can come, which is fine. I love the sport. I love the game, but it's harder to get games around the level. The level can be all over the place, right? And yeah, it is pretty subjective on NAGFA. They lean pretty heavy on uprating on hitting. I have not been, okay, now I'm going to sound salty. I have not been uprated ever playing NAGFA, and I've won MVP both times I've played as a hitter, and they're like, you're just not good enough to play. And I'm just like, what are you watching? My kill rate was insane. Like, maybe I'm not hitting straight down, but I'm killing like almost every ball. And then I'm just like, what do you watch? And then I played libero and I only passed 3 balls. Like, I was a passing machine. I was digging, like I was playing really good. And they're like, yeah, you didn't show enough where it's like to be A. And then I'm like, what are you looking for? Did you want me to like pass and then do a crazy dive to show that I like, so I don't know. I'm subjective. It's super weird. And I'm just salty. I'm like, uprate me. I deserve it, but it's fine. I can still play double B. And yeah, we'll see. Also, if my outside is hitting and I'm in the back row, do I cover close to the block? Great question. Here's what I cover. And I don't know what position you're playing, but I'll show you where everyone covers. So if you're an outside, say this outside is hitting right here, and then you got, let's say your setter, middle blocking. Where do you cover? Middle is going to take a step in and just kind of cover this short one right here. Libero is going to cover right behind usually. Sometimes the libero will come in more here. You're the opposite in the back. Got you. Oh, right. That you said that last time. My bad. Libero is going to kind of come in right here. Might drop a little closer right here if the middle can't get there, but usually the libero is going to be right behind. Outside should pull over and cover this kind of back area right here. Setter's going to kind of pinch in, and everyone is kind of just going to pinch in a little bit. You are kind of like the last person that needs to cover, I would say. Like, you still need to cover, but you don't need to be right there. That doesn't make sense. You can get away with being a little bit off, like middle of the court right here, in case the ball hits and goes deep. I would say maybe being a little back is great, because if it's a hard hit and the ball goes deeper, you can get the deeper ball that goes off the block. If you're too shallow, there's a whole area of the court that the ball can get into, right? And most likely the libero or someone else can get the shorter balls. So that's just a general cover, kind of just closing in like a glove a little bit. So you don't need to worry. I would not stay here. Don't just watch, but I would move in a little bit to the middle of the court. Right around here, I think, is a good kind of gauge. But if you see something happening, I'm a big believer. If you see something like, oh no, this blocker's mushed out right here, he's really inside, he's probably going to get blocked. Like, you can watch that and you're like, maybe I should actually cover over here. So if you see something, don't be afraid to make a smart move or something later. But yeah, right here is a general rule of thumb. Great question. Train. Jonah, thanks for the OC rec. So proud of you and love the channel, lady. Of course. No worries at all. Thank you, Lainey. That means a lot. That means so much. Oh, you make me so happy. Let's go. Oh, I love when people are commenting, man. I'm just like, just makes me smile, you know? All is right in the world. Yeah. This means a lot. I'm going to be streaming for about 10 minutes. So any last questions you have, feel free to get them in now. I'll answer any last questions, and then, yes, I will be ending the stream from there. And let me just check my phone. I'm just checking to see. Okay, cool. No updates yet. I'm trying to see. I might have to leave, but that might mean I am free. So, cool. I got recently upgraded to A in NAGFA, and after going All-Star 2 tourneys in a row, but I feel like it's because more of a physical player and jump higher than most. Yes. Not saying that's the only reason you got upgraded, of course, but I feel like they just look at who's like strong and can hit hard regardless of the result. You know? It's kind of like what is the eye test? It's kind of like they look at the eye test, but then I'm like, you don't know. If you're just watching the eye test, I don't think you're watching volleyball. I'm just going to be salty. I'm going to be salty about this topic only. But I feel like you're going to be watching, like, if you're just looking at how people play versus the result, you're not really watching volleyball. There's so much more that goes into it. Thank you. That was very helpful. I'm glad. Any last questions, let me know. That's what I'm here for. But I'm glad I could help. Is it bad to spin when backsetting if you're off the net? To spin the ball? Can you clarify that real quick, Peter? Do you mean like to spin the ball, spin when backsetting, or like to turn around to face where you're the backside when you're setting? Can you just clarify that real quick? And then, yeah, I'll answer that. That's a great question. Lane Train. I love that name. The Lane Train. Yay. I love that. Like, rotate your body as you're setting. It's totally okay, Peter, to turn your body to set the back if you'd like. But this is a big but. If that makes you feel comfortable setting, great. The only thing is it's going to give away where you're setting. So the blockers are going to see that you're turned around, and most likely they're going to put people, I'll show that here. If you turn around and face like you're setting the opposite, probably the middle is going to come up here already, and it's going to be a lot harder for the opposite to score. But if it's like a bad pass and there's nothing else you can do, yeah, turn around, set the ball. The main priority is to get the set there, right? And if I would say it's more crucial to get a good set, even if you have to turn around and face to set it, totally okay. But I would say try to avoid doing that when you have a good pass. Like if you have a good pass, you don't want to turn around to set. But if it's a bad pass or you're off the net, it's totally okay to face. I think it's totally fine. Your main goal is to get the set there first before trying to be all fancy and try to hide where the set is going. Make sure you get a good set first, right? So totally okay to do it. But again, would not do that when it's a good pass and you're in perfect system. Try to work on that back setting from there. But yeah, I think that's what you said. When you're off the net, totally okay to do it. I agree. That's what you said. What's your on the court volleyball pet peeve? Mine is liberos who don't play in base. Ooh, you would hate me. You would totally hate me. But trust me. There's a ton of pet peeves. I understand it. I think when a libero is not playing in base, for instance, I'm biased. I do never play in base defense when I'm libero. I play read defense, so I read where the hitter's arm is every single time. I will never go in my base. But if the ball was going to my base every single time and I kept missing it, yeah, that's a pet peeve. It's been a pet peeve when I see liberos that don't play in their base, but then the ball keeps going like right there every time. And I'm like, okay, it looks like you're just guessing. Like you're clearly just not playing properly, or you're just kind of playing wherever you want. And thanks, Peter. I appreciate you. I'm glad I could help. But I have a lot of pet peeves. A big one is when setters dump constantly, especially when it's not working. I'm like, especially on a long rally, you need to get your hitters activated. And what I mean by that is like, especially if you've not scored a point in a long time and the setter tries to dump, I think it's like an emergency thing. I think you really need to get that ball to one of your hitters to score a point instead of trying to rely on a sneaky dump. And I just hate setters that keep trying to dump and they don't trust their hitters. Like, let your hitters get back at it again. Maybe if there's nothing else you can do, but I really think you got to keep setting your hitters to really get the momentum back on your side. So I hate that. I hate people that don't cover on block. And I'm not saying you need to like play like tournament level cover every single time where you run and cover, but some people just like stand around and then I'll get a hit that's like a soft off the block and then I'll get blocked. And then I'm like, I hit that like a recycle off the block and no one got it. Come on, guys. Just stand a little closer to me, please. Like I hate doing so much for people and then don't get the same back, especially like as a libero or as a setter. People that don't care about serve receive and suck at it. It's okay if you're learning. That's a whole different thing. But if you just like don't care and you're not really trying on it, you're just making the game less fun for everyone else. So lots of different pet peeves. But again, it's okay if you suck, you don't have the best day, or you're not playing the best. I don't care about that. It's like, if you're not trying and you don't really care, you're not like, I hate that. Like I want people to play. Oh, that's the other thing too. The last thing, and I'll probably close out with this point. I'll get the last question and I'll close out with this point. Even if you're playing open gym, I hate people that don't try. Obviously Jolly Ball, we do some goofy stuff sometimes, but I've said this so many times, I'll say it again. If you actually watch our games, we are not doing goofy stuff for like 99% of the game. It's literally just like 1 point, or maybe at the end of the day when everyone's kind of just having a casual game, like where neither team cares and it's kind of mutually exclusive. But I hate people that just don't try in general in open gym. And I think it makes the game less fun. Like, I'm coming to play volleyball, and it's okay if you're not as good or not as skilled or doing this, but if you're not even trying or just don't even care, oh my God, I hate nonchalantness so much. I am someone that is not nonchalant. I am not nonchalant. I try my ass off. I look like I'm trying my ass off every time, and that's okay. And I love that because I want to play. That's what I came to do. I came to play volleyball. Maybe I'm not playing 1,000,000% all the time, like I'm playing at tournaments, but I'm still trying. I'm playing. I'm not trying to be nonchalant and cool and all this stuff. People are too cool and too cocky sometimes. You could, true, if you're in the right spots and read them, it's totally fine. I get frustrated when it's a guess. Yes. It's the guessing that gets me. I feel like there's no rhyme or reason to the positioning. It just is like, all right, I'm just going to go here. Maybe I'll go here. They're not reading the play. They're not stepping there when they see stuff. So make trying hard cool, or setters who refuse to set the middle. Yeah. Set the middle. I said this all earlier on stream. That's how you win volleyball games. Set the middle. Establish the middle. Middles need more love, man. And yeah, make trying hard cool again. I agree. I want someone to try hard. If you're nonchalant, there's only like a few people that I think can be nonchalant and actually pull it off. And it's probably not you. And I'm not talking to you. That's a rhetorical statement. Like, if you think you're nonchalant, you're probably not. I feel like people that are nonchalant are not trying to be nonchalant. That's just how they play. So if you're trying too hard to be nonchalant, you're not nonchalant, right? I love that word, nonchalant. Hard worker through and through. Thank you, Lainey. That means so much. Yeah, we're doing it. We're doing the thing, aren't we? But yeah, I'm trying to work hard and really focusing on growing, obviously volleyball, the channel. But I really, and I'm not just saying this, I swear, maybe other people say it, I truly do want to build as big of a community as possible, or at least give back to the community. Maybe not be like, I want everyone to follow me and I want my own community. Like, I'd rather be a person where like, it's like a comfort person for people to go to, ask questions, help, and really grow the sport that way and be like a good person in general for volleyball. Because I feel like there's a lot of big personalities in volleyball and it can be very intimidating. When you see all that, especially I was shoved off a lot when I was first learning, and all the better players wouldn't play with me, take me out, and I felt embarrassed and tough, and I just don't want other people to feel like that with volleyball, truly. And I think that's kind of the point I'll end on for this stream today. Please be nice with other people. There's so many different skill levels, and we play volleyball because we like volleyball. Like, it doesn't have to be an ego thing. Like, obviously tournaments get heated, but there should be like, I love trash talk. I love competition. Don't get me wrong, but it's like off the court stuff. Like, be a good person. Like, we're all playing volleyball for fun. You're at an open gym. What are we doing? Why are we getting mad at people or blaming teammates? So yeah, just something to think of that I think about. I appreciate it. Doing a great job fostering the community. Thank you so much. Yes, a welcoming spot, like all skill levels. That's why I do tutorials for, like people just starting out, or if you saw the chat today, questions from how do I set to passing to advanced, like cover and all this stuff. So anything is absolutely acceptable. And I wish I had someone do this for me when I was starting. So that's the least I can do. So thank you so much. I will cut off the stream here. It has been a great stream. Thank you everyone that's still left in the stream. Even if you weren't in the chat and you're just hopping in to watch, it means so much. I don't know. Do we have like 8 people finish this out? I don't know how many people are right now. What is it? Yeah, 14. That's awesome. Thank you guys so much. It really means a lot. And again, I'll close off by saying I will be streaming next week. I will announce a stream schedule officially, so I can do this as a consistent thing. And I think that will help everybody so they know when I'm streaming and it's not just a random, hey, jump in kind of moment. But thanks again. I will be doing this again soon, but you guys are all the best. And thank you so much. I miss y'all already, but I'll see you guys soon. Next week, baby. Peace out, y'all. Yeah.